All right, guys, I figured it out. The IDF shut us down. No, the IDF shut us down. Somebody stop. Somebody stop it. The IDF figured out the address and they were like, ah. I think we're back, guys. Let me see. Ah, I've returned. We started talking conspiracy and then boom, the IDF shut down my channel, guys. Shaitan, they tried to stop me. Shaitan tried to stop us, but we were not deterred. Is this a hostage video? Yeah, it's a hostage video. Being held hostage. What were we talking about? We talking about that dude, that Jeffrey Marsh dude that likes being around people's kids without them around. Yeah, man. I'm not me personally, if somebody was around my kids, me and that guy would have a serious conversation. It's not no tough guy shit. It's just, basic understanding of what I believe fathers are supposed to do for their children. And so, I it's going to go bad for them folks, man. It's going to go bad for them folks. And then it's going to be some, transphobia, blah, 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 blah. But some of these folks are pretty aggressive about being around people's kids by themselves, man. I ain't going to lie to you. He likes telling kids to talk to cross-dressing strangers if they see him in the street. I don't know about y'all, but the only thing I was told about adults that you don't know is stranger danger. Y'all remember that? Stranger danger? Your parents would say, don't talk to no adult you don't know. Don't listen to any adult when they try to get you alone, blah, 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 blah. Wasn't that what we used to teach kids? Didn't we used to teach kids that? Stranger danger? Now you got this dude out here telling kids, go to any random dude and talk and develop relationships with them, blah, 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 blah. Now look, I've got friends that are trans and all the rest of it, and some kid came up to them, they'd say hello and treat them wonderfully and all the rest of it. Okay? This is not a trans issue for me. This is a human nature issue for me, and the fact that it is obviously a red sign, a gigantic red, it's a red billboard. If somebody's consistently wanting, especially a person who doesn't have any children of their own, having a deep desire to be alone with other people's children. And by the way, I keep telling people this. That was not the LGBT community that I came up in, because I was in New York City, 14th Street, the Village, the actual place for Stonewall and shit. I was out there. Before it was cool and shit, I was out there with my freaks. Okay? So, miss me with all the, shut up. Shut up. All the LGBT people I knew on 14th Street and the Village and all the rest of it, the crew I was around, couldn't stand being around kids. It's not because they hated kids, it's just they had to edit themselves around kids. They had to edit themselves. Within themselves. These people do not feel like they need to edit themselves around children. See how that works? All the weird, crazy LGBT freaks that I was hanging around with, not a single one of them wanted kids around. So when I turn on YouTube and I see all of a sudden a group of people who are really super interested in kids from that community, I'm automatically going to start looking at you strange, bruh. Because my experience with that crew was, man, they're breeders, blah, blah, blah. Fucking little kids, blah, blah, blah. You can't rock around in your thong because there's little kids. I got to wear clothes because little kids. They hated kids. Hated being around them. Now we got this new crop of people who don't have any children themselves but want to be around kids. Yeah, you good. I'm good. Later, Big Nose Daryl. Jeffrey specifically says, kids, if you see someone that looks like me, smile and say hi. That's such a random directive to make after asking parents to leave the room. Man, that ain't random nothing. You know what that is. That man's hoping. He's hoping. that some kid's gonna run into him in the street and say some shit. And you know, like he's pretty big on YouTube, so you know he's got a man. Come on, man. See, that's one of those situations where like that's a hell of an oops. That's a hell of an oops. God Almighty. And that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm not some super dad. I told you, I'm a run-of-the-mill dad. Any father, any father, especially if it's a dude, and I'm sorry, Jeffrey Marsh is a dude. Any father is immediately going to have the radar up the minute they hear some shit like that. And they should. When I came up, it was stranger danger. I don't want kids coming in some context where they're out there talking to adults that they don't know. Especially adults that are transgressing boundaries that have been set for literally hundreds of years of human history. That doesn't mean you're a bad person, but what it does mean is that your understanding of mores are fundamentally different than mine, and I don't know where that ends. You see what I'm saying? You didn't miss much, Mr. Trujillo. Didn't miss much. Like, this right here is not, this is not the way. What do you mean you think it rings true? You know it's true, girl. I think the millstone verse for some of these people rings true. Hell yeah. You cause one of these little ones who believe in me to stumble, it's better that you tie a millstone around your neck and throw yourself into the bottom of the sea. That's the Lord Jesus said that. He said that. So keep fucking around with kids. Keep fucking around with kids and people's kids. Okay? You know, Jesus told the disciples, he said, hey man, you better be nice to those kids because they're angels. See the face of God every day. In other words, those angels report to Yahweh what you do. So you better treat them kids well, which was a revolutionary idea at the time. Shout out to Jesus of Nazareth. Jeffrey makes a conscious choice to present himself in a way he knows makes people uncomfortable, wanting to make people feel like this is a red flag. Yeah, he likes it. And then he's like, this is how this is going to go. You will respect us, which is another thing that I major blind spot in the trans community. Is that these trans women, when they get tested or they get mad, they revert back to the testosterone. They revert back to physicality and threats. You saw that in the GameStop? You saw it with this guy talking about, you will respect us. This is how it's going to go. What does that mean, gang? How do you plan on getting me to respect you? I got love and respect for all my friends, trans or otherwise. If you're in my circle, you're in my circle. But I don't know who the fuck you are. And I just know that you like being around other people's kids, man, and influencing them in this really crazy way. Yeah, he knows exactly what the hell he's doing. Did you see my price for winning against you? No. What's the price for beating me? Yeah, of course it needs to be exposed. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. You will owe me a can of Coke. Okay. All right, we'll see. We'll see. I don't know, you know, yeah. Did you hear what happened at Planet Fitness? Yeah. So that was we talked about it a little bit, but yeah, there are a couple dudes showing up in Planet Fitness, shaving and shit, and then they kick the. I'm pretty sure they revoked the woman's Planet Fitness membership because she told the world. She told the world that they had this dude in the bathroom, and so they canceled her membership. And I don't know if you guys know Planet Fitness, but to this day, I don't know if you know this or not, sorry, but we're still getting hit by Planet Fitness. Like, it is damn near impossible to get I won't say a hearing at Planet Fitness, but to get them to cancel your subscription. But somehow this woman, maybe we need to call up Planet Fitness and complain about a dude in your bathroom, and that'll get us finally out of that contract. Holy hell. Planet Fitness lost over $400 million in candle membership overnight. Of course, and it's going to keep happening. They're going to lose $1 billion, guarantee it. Holy she took a pic of him there, and there was a little girl huddled in the corner in a towel while he shaved away. Where? Show me that. Jesus. It was because she was taking pictures of people in the bathroom. That was the reason that they revoked her membership. That's the reason that they're giving. Well, I got 400 million reasons for why that was a bad choice of explanation as to why they termed her. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. All right, so let's see here. I'm trying to find this picture here. And look, man, this is some shit, y'all. I mean, they said that there was a girl huddled in the corner, sorry, but I'm not seeing the girl huddled in the corner. I see a girl in a mirror. I'm going to show you guys.
Babe, that's what I'm saying. It said it in the article. I never saw a picture of it.
Oh, okay.
Girl, it just said it in the article.
I mean, there's a girl there. You could see the girl right there. I just got to... like, there's a girl. She's in a mirror right there. See what I'm saying?
Oh, is that a little... Yeah, and there's a towel. Is she wearing a towel?
Nah, she's in purple shirt and
Well, why does it go all the way up around her neck? It looks like that would be more a towel kind of tucked up around. And she's looking down like that.
I mean,
no?
Okay. I mean, it's still bad in my... I mean, it's still... I mean, here we go. That looks like cargo pants to me. And then a purple pullover hoodie.
Looking in the mirror. That little girl in the mirror.
Yeah.
That's the person over there.
Person.
Yeah, okay.
I mean,
again, it was just what she said.
But this is what I'm talking about.
But
like,
no, you're right. That's a woman in a purple shirt.
This is what I'm saying. Like, come on. I mean, try. See, that's my problem. No, he's in a towel. Right? Try. He's not even... Look at that. Not even trying. What do you mean?
It's terrible.
I mean, just the optics are crazy, guys. It's just it's a crazy optics, man.
Push over. I'm coming for a little bit.
If she didn't take a picture, it would be his word. Of course, you know what that is. She had to take the picture. I don't. That's ridiculous. Because if we would have been like, that's the other thing. Like, we wouldn't have known like how male this dude actually was. Jesus loves him, right? Yeah, of course Jesus loves him. That's without question. But that's not what's being discussed in this particular situation. What's being discussed in this situation is that we have people that are constantly putting themselves in a situation where they can be alone around other people's children. And traditionally speaking, that has always been viewed upon as predatory behavior. And as I said, all of us, when we were coming up, we heard about stranger danger and all the rest of it. We were told by our parents, don't talk to people you don't know, because people are dangerous. That's what we're taught. But here comes Jeffrey Marsh to let us all know that kids should be going up to cross-dressing people they don't know and start having these wonderful conversations with them. There's no way possible that could ever turn out bad. I mean, come on. Good night.
It's terrible.
It tracks to crop out a little girl in a towel before publishing the photo. Yeah.
It was?
It would make sense if there was a girl in a towel to delete it from the photo.
Yeah.
See what I'm saying?
Well, yeah. Yeah.
It's such a red herring. They always go to people hate this kids, don't want them to exist when there's... Yeah. I mean, I had a conversation last year about this in Middle America, and I was like, I mean, we've got situations where dudes are walking around with fully erect penises around 10, 11, 12-year-old girls. And the person said, yeah, right, nobody's doing that. So then I put out the article. And we just moved on like nothing happened. We just, boop. That's propaganda. I was like, okay.
I think the other thing, too, is like, homie was in there doing something definitively masculine.
He's shaving, yeah. Look,
so we're supposed to pretend that razor going across your cheek is not... It's just...
I'm sorry. Like, and then, honestly, that is terrifying.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
Because men are orders of magnitude stronger than women.
Yeah. And the thing is, if you went in to take the shower and then you were walking over to where the curtains are to go change, you don't know he's, homie's up, hanging up in there. You're just walking out and then, I don't know. It's not right. And given the amount of women that have been sexually assaulted in this country, there's no way that you can present that way and just by your words expect us to be okay with it. A lot of women have seen the women's bathroom as a safety zone. You played tag and there was front steps is safety. If you're there, you're safe. That's been the bathroom for a lot of us because we knew that's the one spot that we can get to where there's not going to be any situation. You're surrounded with other females where there's right.
That's more.
You guys have equal strength. So if some sideways woman comes in there, it's I still could hold my own.
Is that even a thought for women?
I've never had that thought. No, I've never had that thought. But when someone with that size and biological makeup shows up in there shaving their face at the sink, especially that's the other thing too, it's not like homie was attaching an eyelash and putting on makeup. I still don't agree with this person being in that bathroom. I don't agree with it at all, for the safety concerns for us women. But it just keeps coming down to the same thing, in my opinion. We as women understand this is a male-driven society, and it always has been, and it, quite possibly always will be. And at the end of the day, this person was born is a biological male and has decided partway through their life that they want to change, and now they want to come into our space. And I think that women are not necessarily really good, depending on who they are, being on each other's side on things, but I do think that we want to see each other protected. And so, if this person is claiming to be a woman, then you would think that they would say, to go along with what we do, I want to make sure that everybody feels as safe as possible. If I came around other women and they said, sorry, we feel you to be a threat and we don't want you here, I would not impose myself on those other women. But men do that. Men impose themselves on women. That's why they get raped. That's why we get assaulted, because there's a history of men using their strength like that against women. So when you have situations like this where somebody...
It's a mathematical certainty that you put a woman in an enclosed space with strange men long enough, sexual assault is going to happen.
I mean, there's that prison where there's 28, biological males at this point that, decided now, and then they're in the women's prison system, and women are getting pregnant all over the place. And it's like you said before, that there is an absolute power dynamic, and there's also a history of women using their sexuality to protect themselves. So if you get locked up in the jail cell with a trans woman and you wind up assaulted or pregnant,
insane. It's insane.
It truly, truly is.
It's just, I probably want a black shirt on that. I don't know. A lot of these guys, you're out here trying your best to love your friends, and you don't want anybody in any mental distress because of you. I have a lot of.
Well, no, that's what you're saying. But that person obviously didn't care.
Right.
He didn't care about the little girl huddled in the corner, or the woman that was saying, you don't belong in here.
But this is. That's my issue, is that, I was looking at this thing called The Hard Problem of Consciousness, and everybody's just trying to figure out what does consciousness even mean, and they came up with the most unscientific sounding definition of consciousness I ever heard, but I mean, it's such a complex topic. But it basically, the man said, consciousness is what it's like to be something. So what's it like to be a bat? What's it like to be a whatever? And so he was saying that, like, even if you became a bat, you still would not know what it's like to be a bat.
Oh, yeah.
Because what would happen is you are a human being who's lived 36 years on the planet, and now you're starting out as a bat. Mm-hmm. That's not the same as somebody who was a bat from the beginning of their life, and all they know is being a bat. And this comes out in these trans topics all the time. Mm-hmm. Is that trans people do not understand, I think, that there's a gear that they have that women do not have. So, like, you see the trans dude in GameStop, it's ma'am, and he's, like, wrecking shop, all type of shit. Women don't do that. Mm-hmm. And the reason they don't do that is because of an evolutionary issue, which is they're not... Their fitness payoff is in reproduction and nurturing. That's why I have pectoral muscles and she has breasts in the same area. So that's the issue. These things are hardwired into nature itself. And now we've got a group of people that are telling us to ignore that for the sake of their own mental well-being. But they don't realize that they themselves still pull the testosterone card when they feel threatened or when they hear no and they feel angry. So you can default back to, I'm going to pull the testosterone card. Women don't have that. You can see this in after the trans person shot up all them kids at that school, and I was doing a show, and I was chronicling all the violent actions of these male to female, almost exclusively white trans people. And they were like, well, look at everything they're going through, blah, blah, blah. And I said, that's fine, but women do not have that gear. Women don't have that gear. It's like I said, like the Women's March, right? It was the biggest organization of human beings ever in American history. It beat the Million Man March. And what did those women do with all those numbers and all that power? They walked around the city with pussy hats, and then they got up on stage and said, I'm a nasty woman, blah, 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 blah. But nobody died. Nobody was killed. Nobody was threatened. There's a lot of crying and yelling and screaming.
That's what I was going to say.
Women don't do this. So then in that conversation, I was making the argument that look how women have been treated historically in America. They don't get violent because they're not evolved that way, and they're not socially taught to get the things that they want via violence like men are. Okay? So it is outside of the general disposition of women to respond to rejection with violence. Men do that. Men respond to rejection with violence. That's why I'm in this tweet thread with this girl, and she was talking about how she doesn't do the blind date thing anymore because if they show up and the dude's a guy that they don't like, they can't cancel the date because they're scared to death. So dudes have that inherent danger, and we have that switch where we can go from 0 to 60 and get real physical real quickly. So I was saying, these guys are belying the entire movement by having this posture. And somebody told me, no, the suffragettes were beating people up with hammers. You remember that?
Yeah. Yep.
The suffragettes were beating people up with hammers. I said,
there was hammers involved.
I said, damn. I said, you know what? It was probably the Lord. I was like, you know what? Let me source that.
Yeah.
So I sourced it. It turned out that these suffragettes didn't take any hammer to anybody. They actually took hammers to an art gallery at 4 a.m. when they were sure that nobody was going to be there. Okay? Women don't have that gear. I'm going to default to violence if I get rejected, blah, 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 blah. I'm sorry. But somebody's got to tell you guys that. It's not the same thing. I'm sorry. I love the both of you. What are your thoughts on this? That one can practice unconditional love and also set boundaries for oneself where your health and well-being is concerned. Well, Eric, I would say that in order to exercise unconditional love, you have to have boundaries. That's what I would say.
Well, the other thing, too, is 1 Corinthians gives a pretty clear description of what love is. And in one of them, truth is a major part of love. And the facts are, this is a group of people that is expecting us to accept something that is not the truth. And then they expect us to go along with it so much that we would endanger our gender for the sake of their lie, and I say that it sounds kind of like overly direct maybe, but I mean that is what's happening, and I do sympathize with people that are in that bracket if they truly are, disassociated from their own bodies and they feel that they are supposed to be something different than how they were born. I think that is, I mean, as a woman, and even as as a girl and as a teen girl, like I remember not necessarily feeling completely like I belonged where I was. Not that I wanted to be a man, but I did think that it would be easier to have been a man, or to have done the things that I wanted to do based off of the strength that men have, and I came up in a religious context, and in that context men had more freedoms than women did. So that was something that kind of like...
Now, develop that a little bit. How did the guys have more freedom than...
Well, I mean, I'm specifically talking about, the rules in our household for the girls versus the rules that were there for my brother. Like, it wasn't the
and
same.
You guys were both
old.
You guys were both older.
And we were older than he was. So, if he did something that was, wrong, or he wasn't being completely upfront with what he was doing, that was just accepted differently than how it was if we were in that situation, or specifically me. I can't really speak for my sister, but so I recognized, and I also, there were certain jobs that I wanted to do, like, my father would go into the prison system actually and preach the gospel there, and I wanted to go be a part of that so badly, but I couldn't because I was a girl. And you can go in there and you're going to get objectified and all that. But my thing was, and I don't think that I ever really necessarily communicated this to my father, so that's maybe unfair, but I was objectified everywhere I went. So I would have liked to have been able to do something positive that I saw as vitally important. Well, if it's going to happen anyway, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay, so we're having a conversation about unconditional love. That's interesting. So where did Mech go? Where did Mech go?
Oh, nope. Oops, I thought.
I know. Where'd you go?
She's right there.
Ah, there she is. All right. She said something before, though, that I wanted to hit on.
Can't you just type her name and brings them all up?
Philosophy of Mind was the dumbest class I ever took. All our texts read like they were written by dudes high on acid, and it was all vibes and feelings. They were on psilocybin, guaranteed, for sure. In the UK, they have stats on trans prison populations, and the rate of men applying to be in a women's prison that are sex offenders is 70%, compared to them being 12% of the general male population.
Of course, we all know what's going on with that. And
there's always like this sleight of hand, like, oh, you're saying trans people are dangerous, and it's like, no, we're saying men are dangerous to women.
You know what?
That's what we're saying.
You know what's crazy too? I guarantee you that if all of a sudden they switched the thing and they were like, no, if you're a biological male, you were born male, then you're going to stay in the men's prison, but we're going to put all the trans people together, like in the cells, so we're not going to put you with somebody who doesn't identify as trans, there would be an outcry, because they would understand that there are certain people that hate that community that would say that they were there so they could be in their cell to inflict stuff on them. All of a sudden it would get real clear how the power dynamics were and everything. I just, but women are not prioritized in these situations. Everybody's, we're worried about what other people think and how people feel, and people's feelings are important, and I don't think that we should go out there and be on purpose mean or hurtful to people. I don't think that you should not hire somebody because they're trans. I don't think that you should not allow somebody to live in an apartment because they're trans. Like, I completely disagree with all that stuff. There should be, they should have rights along with the rest of us, but their rights should not impede on my rights as a woman, or my daughter's rights, or any other woman that's in the bathroom. Our rights matter. And those shouldn't be shoved to the side because somebody has decided or somebody feels a certain way. Well, I feel a certain way. I would feel very uncomfortable if I saw a man in the women's bathroom, no matter how they identified. I will say, if it was a Dylan Mulvaney type person that was in there, I would feel less uncomfortable than the way this person was presenting. But that doesn't matter, because at the end of the day, there are people, I know people personally that have zero issue putting on a dress, even though they're not trans and they never have been, but they absolutely assault women and children. Well, I don't know about women. I know they've gone after a lot of children. So, this person, it's not on their record. Their family protected them, so that's not on their record. There's nothing. They've got a clean record. They could easily... But apparently you don't even have to be dressed that way. You just have to say you identify that way. Because that person didn't even... they looked like they were in boxer shorts and a tank top. It didn't even look like,
It's I'd feel very uncomfortable in a restroom with Dylan. They made videos talking about offering women tampons in the restroom. No thanks.
I know. It was very strange. Especially when I first saw Dylan's stuff, I saw it as entertainment. I didn't really think there was anything serious about it. I didn't think that it looked like no offense, but it looked like a woman's version of blackface to me, because it looked like it was just putting on. And the reason it was entertaining to me is because no woman is like that. No woman is like, here are my hiking heels. Like, we don't hike in heels. We do have common sense. But it was to see that exaggerated form. I thought it was, to me, like I said, it was entertainment. Then when I started realizing, oh wait, no, this is actually serious. And on top of that, this person is much older than a girl. Like, even if they were, this is an adult, and they're calling it, days of girlhood or whatever. And
that part for me in this entire Dylan Mulvaney thing, that part to me was the gigantic red holy shit. This guy is not saying I'm a woman. I guess he's saying it now, but even still, is it womanhood or girlhood in the song? But he specifically said he was a girl, and initially the stuff that he was doing in the video was like little kid stuff, like the set, like his room and stuffed animals and pigtails and all that shit. That was my problem, was transgressing the age boundary. Yeah. Like, what do you mean you're a girl? And my thing is, I don't want this to be a cultural thing now where it's like, I can now identify as a girl. Like, I don't want that in the zeitgeist.
Yeah, it's days of girlhood still.
It's he's still saying girl instead of woman. Like, I'm not, and then when you combine that with the prevalence of the barely 18 porn stuff that these sick people are looking at, dude, like, I'm like, as a dad, that was a major red flag to me. Why are you saying girl? Mm-hmm. That's a problem. That's a serious problem for me. And as you think about it, these people are saying that a 16-year-old should be able to consent to a fucking hysterectomy and puberty blockers. Newsflash! It is irrational to say that a child has a mental capacity to do something like participate voluntarily in a hysterectomy, and then in the same breath say they're not old enough to consent to sex. Mm-hmm. You don't see the problem there? You don't see how people, nefarious actors, could do something with that? You don't see how the vast majority of the laws we have are based on precedent and case law? And so if you give the Supreme Court a case law in which we're somehow officially recognizing this individual as a child, or we somehow recognize on the federal level that a child can make these life-altering permanent decisions. Jazz Jennings, for the millionth time, is now sterile. One of the weirdos on Surf Times had an interview about that, and they said, they sterilized Jazz Jennings. What about that? He's like, why are you guys so concerned with people's genitalia? They try to turn it on you like there's something wrong with you for pointing that out. No, you fucking moron. My children deserve the full human experience. And that is a major part of the experience of humanity. It is a crime that you take impressionable children and then sterilize them. And now they've got their entire future in a sterilized state. And so when they hit 20 and 25 and really start pining after children and want them, they can't do it. There's this girl, Chloe something or other. She did a hysterectomy, all that shit when she was 16 years old. She obviously regrets it and all the rest of it. You should see the comments under when they hate her. Well, you knew. You should have known better. You're 16. Nobody forced you, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, okay. So if she had the sense of mind at 16 years old to consent to a hysterectomy, how could you argue that she can't consent to sex? And that's my reason that I'm no fan of this girlhood shit with Dylan Mulvaney. And he hasn't really changed it. To your point, the last song he made is still girlhood.
Days of Girlhood or something. And the other thing, too, is like, I don't know what age group is wearing pigtails. This is not like, that's not even functioning as a teenager, because when you're a teenager, you're not trying to look like a baby. You're trying to look like a grown woman. That's what women actually, that's what we did. You always wanted to look older than you were, not younger. So the fact that he's coming in with pigtails and, you know, happy clapping around like that means, are we, what age group are we? What age is this girlhood?
That's what I'm saying. That's my problem. And even if he doesn't have a pedo bone in his body, and I don't know, dude, I can't judge him. This is the same problem I have with Rabbi Shmuley selling sex toys with his daughter. Yeah. There are some lines we should never, ever, ever cross or normalize. Mm-hmm. And people who do shit like that, Rabbi Shmuley, absolutely need to be publicly marginalized so that the zeitgeist understands that is a line that shouldn't be crossed. And the age thing is another fucking line that should not be crossed.
Yep.
And it should never be normalized. And that's my problem with Mulvaney, ultimately. For me, it's the girl shit. That's my problem. That's my issue.
Yeah.
What is this? A bunch of trash making women like dumb sluts. Pure trash. What are we talking about here?
I mean, that's kind of some of the way that I see it too. Is he kind of like some of the well, maybe I should be careful because I can't think of the specifics right now. I do remember seeing some of this stuff and feeling like, okay, this is it. There's a lot of times where I'll see trans women and they're dressed like just very slutty. Like, I hate the word slut, you know, like, but they just very like, you know, like they had some work done on the top and so they're like showing all of it off more. But like if we went out in public wearing something like that, you're going to get a lot of negative attention. Mm-hmm. Yikes, that's terrible. Ah, Jesus.
Okay.
Gosh.
This is just sad to me, but this
yes,
right here,
this
right here, this is what I'm talking about. This second picture right here is my fucking problem right here.
Uh-huh.
You are purposely trying to look like a girl. Why?
A child.
You're a grown-ass man, and you out here, I mean, I'm going to show you guys the full picture of this thing, because it's look, man, I might be paranoid, I might, but I'm a father, you know? So, I mean, I just, if I could talk to dude, I'd be like, what are we doing right here, man? What the hell is this? If I can ever get this thing to transfer over, what are you doing? I mean, I don't know what the hell he's doing. I don't know, like, you know, I have an idea. I'm gonna get you guys the whole thing here. Another thing too is he looks drugged out of his mind in this picture. You see what I'm saying? Like, what are you doing here, bro?
It seems he's trying to appear like a doll.
It looks extremely childish and juvenile, and that is my problem. I have a major problem with the normalization of this kind of thing. Yeah. The lyrical content of, the music video. Yeah, people had a real problem with the music. Maybe we should pretend to be a reaction channel and react to the song. All right, let's do that. You guys want to see us react to the song? All right, Days of Girlhood.
I'm going to be honest with you. I haven't seen it. I just heard a little bit of it playing.
We're going to have to do the stop every so often thing, guys, which is probably for the best because we're going to be, whatever, the thingamajiggy. So talk to the people while I get that. Was it Days of Girlhood?
Yeah, I haven't seen it. I only I think I caught like just a couple clips on it, but nothing too much. So this is going to be completely new to me.
Yeah, they blitzed the hell out of dude on this one, man. They like he didn't get no love on this one. Like I think he had to like shoot another video and say like this is my personal experience or whatever. I'm not going to accuse him of anything. I mean, quite frankly, like quite frankly, I feel bad for like when she first started. We started watching his girlhood stuff. You were crying.
Well, at first I thought it was entertainment, and then it switched, and I felt deeply sad for Dylan, and I was like, like this is sad. What's going on here? But then after a while, it kind of just I started. Like, the more stuff that I was seeing, the more I was just feeling like, well, I mean, I feel bad for you, but I feel bad for the women, because Dylan was pushing agendas forward that were beneficial to biological men transitioning to women in those circumstances, but was not out there to protect us women. And I don't like when they disregard or mock the children.
Mm-hmm.
No, we do have a concern for the children, and we also have a concern for the fact that because of your life decisions, you don't have children, and so you don't know what you would think or feel if someone was invading the space of your child.
So true.
We have lots of children, so we're going to feel this differently than you.
All these childless leftists.
Right.
Who...
You want to silence the voice of parents, ostracize them from their kids, and get them on your side.
When we had Drag Queen Story Hour, and you had grown-ass men shaking their ass and saying, telling God in front of these kids, thank you for those who lick us where we pee. This guy said that to a third grade fucking class, and then proceeded to prance around in his little whatever. I posted that, and I had people defending that shit, calling me a transphobe.
Okay, also, I want to point out that this was a couple years ago.
You know who you are. They were also using the term genocide for trans people because white dudes couldn't go into the bathroom with girls. That didn't age well either, because now we're actually looking what an actual fucking genocide looks like. Go ahead.
I'm not going to remember all the exact details. You're probably going to be able to remember more, but there was this girl, and she ended up... there was like this kind of rage porn, like... past relationships. You could upload videos and pictures of your past relationship people and basically just shame them. We watched a whole documentary on this years ago. It was breakup porn or something. I can't remember what they call it, but they would upload it to this guy's website, and he was making mad money off of this. And the girls...
I forgot what it's breakup porn or something like that.
I can't remember what it's called.
You break up, and then the guy, because he's a bitch, he takes all your nudes and he puts it on the internet because he's not man enough to.
So there was one girl that didn't understand what this was going to do to her life, and so she ended up creating these videos while she was on the main line with this guy, because he was making her think that he was going to be able to make her big, and so she participated in some extremely humiliating acts, sexual acts in front of the camera. And
that was in that documentary?
Yeah. Well, I mean, they didn't show it, but
I probably skipped that part.
You didn't. But,
it's just so unmanly to me.
Yeah. But anyway,
so
like she ends up...
Yeah, go ahead.
So she ends up participating in this, and then people are like, they started calling her by the action that she did, and then her name started getting bigger. Well, people went onto her personal Facebook page, and this was part of what they did. If once your information got out there publicly with all of your pictures from the past relationships, you didn't stay as an anonymous, an anonymous face that wasn't connected to anything. They would get your personal information, your actual Facebook page, even your address in some cases, your phone number, and then they would post it underneath these pornographic photos that you never wanted released in the first place. And so this girl, somebody had screenshot her Facebook page and put her Facebook up there. Well, in the background on the, like you have your main profile picture and then you have like the backdrop. On the backdrop, she had her kids. And so her kids ended up getting taken away from her because it looked like she was trying to put her kids in that situation, but she had nothing to do with it. You also have teachers who participate in OnlyFans losing their job over it. So why is it in those situations women are treated that way, but I can't remember where I was going to go because there was so many so many shocking interruptions when you were like, what? I don't know what I was going to connect it to the way that, you know, they can put all of this stuff out there and still be able to do whatever it is that they want to do.
Yeah, it's just crazy to me, man. It's just crazy.
Oh no, you were talking about the trans hour. So here are these trans folks coming in and doing story hour with the kids, mostly naked in front of the kids, and we're supposed to accept that, and that's supposed to be allowable. But a teacher who on the side, and I don't think that women should put themselves on OnlyFans, and I'm not judging them for doing that because everybody's situation is different.
Have you looked at a teacher's salary?
But right, so they're trying to make up their salary doing that, and now you fire them from that job. But it's complete. I thought we were okay with it. So if she has an OnlyFans and it's on the side, it has nothing to do with her class, then why do you care? But if a trans person half naked goes into our kids and does story hour, we're looked at as bad or bigots because we're not okay with that. See, here it is again. It's a trans woman, so a biological male, that is getting away with so much when actual women who have been born that way do something on the side to make some extra money that doesn't involve the children, lose their jobs. That's how women are treated. That's how women are actually treated.
And nobody says, well, shit, man. Like, what the fuck is going on? Maybe we need to relook at how much we're paying these people. Yeah. You know, the people who are taking care of our kids and like, nobody takes care of my kids but my wife and me. But, you know, we're blessed to be in a certain kind of situation. Other people are not in a situation where they have the luxury of being able to homeschool their kids. So they have to, at some level, put some faith and trust that the institution that they're sending them to is going to educate them. Let me deal with their sexual mores and all the rest of it. That's not your arena. Teach them arithmetic. When they get home, I'll tell them the birds and the bees, etc., etc. You got a lot of people that are in a situation where they don't have options for education like us. And so you got to understand, if you're on the left and you don't have children, I'm not saying you can't comment on the discussion. You just need to have the self-awareness to understand that there's a dynamic to this that you have no idea about. Nobody knows how maniacal and crazy you get when you have a kid.
Nope.
You turn into a different kind of thing, man. You get a different kind of things. Getting to know some of these women, I found out very quickly that these women have children and day jobs where they're underpaid. Correct. So here we come, being so pro-life. Roe v. Wade got struck down. You know what people should have heard from the evangelical right is we should have immediately got together and say, okay, ladies, we are going to be the number one force in pushing paid time off for maternity leave. And you know what, girls, we're also going to fight for some paternity leave for the dad, not necessarily for him, but so that you get some relief for the first couple weeks. Like, if we were truly pro-life, that's what we would have done, right? We would have said, hey, I know there's a lot of consternation right now. We're going to fight like hell for this. And you know what? I'm pretty sure if we got together and did that shit, we could make that shit happen. Because the Dems, the Blues, already are all about the maternity leave and the paternity leave. It is the Republicans who are pro-life who are against it. And you wonder why people believe that pro-life people only just want to control women's body and really don't give a fuck about kids. I got to tell you guys, I used to fight against that so much. I'd say, well, there's some. But after this whole Palestine thing, it's very hard for me to conceive that the people who are completely fine with the death of Palestinian children are truly pro-life, and that's their dominating motive for fighting abortion. I don't think so. I don't think so. Oh, my goodness gracious, guys. I don't think Story said nude story hour, but it was not an exaggeration. This guy was in a thong. His entire adult ass was showing to these kids, and he was strutting around thanking God for people who lick him where he pees. So let's try to be as accurate as we possibly can. we do have the girlhood video. Soraya went off. We're gonna review the girlhood video, guys, and then I think we'll jump off. But we're gonna be really pushing like crazy, guys, to keep this op tempo. And I also think we have a regular Vid and Sorry stream. You guys got to prepare. We're gonna be mega interactive. You guys are gonna get tired of me. You guys are gonna get tired of me. So it looks like we answered all of our questions. Once Soraya comes back, we're gonna do the girlhood thing. Look at David Ryer. Sure, Vin, stop using absolutes. That's an absolute statement, Ryder. Just stop using absolutes is an absolute statement, my brother. You can't. That's one spider web you're not gonna get out of. I get why people don't want people with certain images online teaching their kids. It would undermine their position as role models and the respect they should have if they can find that kind of thing. I get it. I do. I just hate it. I hate it for women. If a girl is teaching, she does not want to do that. Okay? She has to do that because women are going to survive. They're going to survive. They're not going to sit down there and roll over and die. We would not have a human species if that's how women dealt with challenges. So girls are always going to figure it out. Always. And that's the reason why we don't give them the help that they need. Because they're going to do whatever they need to do to survive because they've been doing it since the beginning of time. But it's wrong for us to keep systems in place that make it so that a woman who loves kids and wants to educate children has to also do this on the side to feed her own children. So I understand people not being able to get over the fact that Miss McDonald is a porn star or whatever. Like, I understand it, but I fucking hate that. And if I had a kid, that would not be a disqualifying mark for whether or not they could teach my child. It just wouldn't for me. But at the same time, I totally understand what you're saying, and you know, it's valid. And again, I'm speaking from a position of privilege because my kids are homeschooled. So I'm speaking of from a privileged person. You don't understand.
Why isn't it consistent? Why is it that a biological man can dress up like an scandalously dressed woman and read books in front of kids at a public library, and that's okay, and that doesn't get shut down, and they go after us if we say this isn't okay? But then here's a teacher who has that on the side, but she was born a woman. So the cards are not stacked in our favor at all. No, that we dudes have always created economies that necessitate sex work for women. Yeah.
Always. That's purposeful. I didn't even know this until the 70s. Girls weren't even allowed to have their own fucking credit card. Now, why would that be? Mm-hmm. Why the fuck would that be? You don't understand the term, Vin. No, I do understand the term.
Which term? What term?
He said stop using absolutes, which is an absolute statement.
Yeah, that is.
If you say there's no such thing as absolute truth, that itself is an absolute statement. So what you believe in is an epistemic non-starter. I'm not mad at you, but the minute a person says there are no absolutes, or like in, you know, the Star Wars, only the Sith deal in absolutes, that itself is an absolute statement. So I don't like to have philosophical presuppositions that are inherently self-contradictory. See what I'm saying? It's wild to me.
Exactly, Mac. Exactly.
That men can accept behaving that way, and just behaving what way?
It's a biological male dressing up in women's clothes that is completely scandalous in front of children, a thong in front of kids. Like, in what world is this okay? But the teacher comes, you know, in her regular button-up shirt. She teaches the children when she's there, and then off the side she has an OnlyFans, and boom, she's over with. Like,
it's none of my fucking business about her OnlyFans. She's not bringing that shit into the school.
That's what I'm saying.
She's doing arithmetic and shit. What do I care what she's doing, bro?
Yeah.
I mean, I care. In the sense of, why the fuck is this girl in this situation that she's out here teaching? She should be set, right?
I mean, I will say, I do think that if she has an OnlyFans, and with the way that OnlyFans has kind of become like a phenomenon. It's definitely gotten a lot bigger. That if she's using like her actual name on the OnlyFans and then the students find it, I do think that could be a little bit distracting, because teenagers already have issues with like the falling in love and whatever with the teacher. So if you're like actually seeing shit she's doing in the evenings after she closes out school while you're doing your homework, I do think that could be a bit distracting. I'm not with it, but I don't think that, I agree that we're underpaying our teachers. I think we should pay them enough so that way they make enough of a living where the OnlyFans thing isn't really something that that even comes up in their minds to do. And then if they choose to do it on top of that, well, then let the cards fall where they may. But at this point in time, we don't support our teachers enough. They are underpaid and they are overworked. You don't even want to be around your own teenagers that as much, and you don't want to teach them either, which is why the majority of people don't homeschool. Like, it is difficult sometimes when you're trying to teach them something and they don't want to, you know what I mean? But you want her to be in front of your kids and teach your kids, and you don't want to, we don't want to pay her well? Like,
bullshit.
You know, I think a lot of our tax money.
And so now, what does she have? Well, she's just going to go full on into the porn stuff now. Right, because she's trying to find a way to make money, because that's a lot of work to be with the kids that many hours and to make that little pay. So she's probably looking for like a quick way to make some money that isn't going to take so much necessarily out of her. But I don't think that she's calculating in like the soul side of it and like the longevity side and how those things deteriorate within yourself over time. Listen, man, there were a lot of times where we were one check away from homelessness, and we ended up homeless at times. And women, when they get in that sort of survival mode, they do anything and everything to make sure that they're good, and it's almost never to make sure that they're good. It's almost always
for the kids.
The kids.
Yeah.
Women generally, especially once they start having kids, forget to prioritize themselves. They forget that they actually are around. Like, I've seen it. I saw my mom see it with you. Like, they forget themselves because they're so used to, and we're just, we'll just take. It's fucking horrible. I'm completely, I understand. You and Meg said the same thing about the teacher. Like, I understand a reason for why people wouldn't want that person, but like, I'm sorry, man. If it was me, I'd be fighting tooth and nail to keep that lady there. And I would love it one time, man, if a community got together at one of these parent-teacher meetings and said, "Why are we underpaying Miss McDonald?
Yeah.
We need to issue a referendum and do a plus 15K. We'll pay an extra 4 cents in tax and get these teachers another 15K a year." That would change life.
I don't know if this is still happening, but to my understanding, part of our tax dollars we're going to pay for abortions. I am not good with that at all. I'm good with paying the people that are educating our children and not paying to have more children dead.
I don't know. The Hyde Amendment got struck down. That's when RGB made her famous. Okay. People that we don't want. But principially, the point still stands. Here's maternity leave in Finland. Maternity leave begins at the earliest 50 working days and at the latest 30 working days before the estimated due date. So your leave starts 50 days before your due date.
Oh, that's so good.
So you're not working and you get paid. If anything, a month before you actually deliver. When maternity leave begins...
No, 50 days is almost 2 months. Oh, right. You're saying at minimum.
50 or 30. When maternity leave begins, Kayla, Finnish Social Insurance Institution, will pay maternity allowance for a duration of 105 working days.
Oh, working days.
Working days. So Monday through Friday. And parental leave, 158 work days from the time at which payment of maternity allowance has ended. Adoptive parents are given 234 work days from the time the child is born, and a minimum of 200. So if you adopt, you get almost double the time.
Interesting.
Right?
Well, I wonder why.
Well, that makes sense because the kid's probably got trauma and stuff. Like the adjustment period, you need more time with him because he's, in a foster home and all that shit. That makes a lot of sense.
I think you should equalize it, just do them both, because the mom still has to go through the healing. Because, like, this is one of the things that I used to think about.
234 days is almost a year. I agree that the adoptive kid should get an extra 100 days. That makes a lot of sense to me.
So, assuming a standard work week of 5 days, Monday through Friday, you would divide the total number of working days by 5 to... Okay, 105 working days is 21 weeks. That's incredible. That's almost half a year.
234 is close to a full year.
But my thing is, if you adopt, I totally think that I wouldn't say take the time away from the people that adopt, but I would say give the equal time to the moms who birth the child, because you have about 6 to 8 weeks of straight healing after you have that child, depending on how much tearing and trauma has been done to your body. So you want to be able to just have that healed time to take care of your baby and take care of your household and stuff, where you would feel that clock ticking while you're still stuck in bed or still stuck in that healing process and all that. I think give that total amount to both of them.
Either way, I still agree with extra time, whatever is needed, because I know what a newborn baby does. They do nothing.
Yeah, but you don't know what it's like to have your body after having a baby.
I'm talking about the principle. If you didn't hear about the 234 days, you were happy with the 105 days, right?
I was.
You didn't think you were getting skinned for that. So what I'm saying is, whatever the time is for a normal birth and all that, that's cool. Whatever you think is necessary. But I do believe
you would always give the adoptive parents
I would always give the adoptive parents significantly more, because
what if the parents that were adopting a 1 week old?
They're working from a deficit. Whereas when you give birth to a child, you're not working from a deficit. You're working with a...
She's working from a physical deficit.
Okay. Whatever the amount of days that you believe that a woman should get, I'm good. So if you say they should get a year, cool. What I'm saying is, I agree with giving the adoptive child more time, because I don't think the design there is about the parent as much as it is from the child. The child who has been given up from adoption and things like that has trauma and attachment issues that they have to deal with that a normal child does not. And so giving them extra time makes a lot of sense to me. That's my only point.
So you're saying give more time for the sake of the baby.
Yeah, I think principially when you're working with a deficit, because adoptive kids are working at a deficit. They've been abandoned, they've been whatever, they have a hard time attaching, and so there's a lot of jihad that happens in the first couple times for the kid. It was just like that Instant Family movie, right? Mm-hmm. Where it took the girl a long time to even say the word dad. So that's my only point. My point is, I definitely see the logic in giving that adoptive child more time, significantly more time than a newborn, because you and I both know a newborn is difficult, but it's difficult not in the way that a child who's gone through trauma is difficult. I mean, they sleep for most of the day, that type of thing. That's all I was saying.
Yeah,
is that
what I'm saying is, I think that both parties, one, you would want to give more time to the adoptive one because the child needs that extra bonding time, and the other one, you would want to give more time because the mother has been through such an ordeal that it would be good for her to be able to have that time for healing, and then once she's kind of more normal, then to kind of have that maternity leave time. I would just put it the same across the board and just give them both a lot of time.
Yeah, and to me, that logic really doesn't follow. But either way, it's better than what's happening right now. That's
exactly what I'm saying, Max.
It's better than what's happening right now. You see what I'm saying? It's a lot better than what's happening right now. With an adoptive kid, you got to go to therapy. You got a whole bunch of other shit that you have to deal with that you just don't with a child. So to me, the extra time is about the child and not the parent. Whatever the magic number is, if you think 365 days for the parent, cool. But the child still is operating at a deficit. So my thing is that child needs extra time. Whatever the scenario is, a child is always going to need extra time. Like our kids wouldn't have needed all that. I would want a kid who has gone. Some of this is also like you've never been in the system. See what I'm saying? You've never been a kid in the system, so you don't understand those kinds of issues. So I think people might have a different perspective if you see kids that came out of the system and the difficulty that they have to even begin to trust the parent, much less, because that's a big thing, is they can't attach and they can't trust. Whereas a newborn, all things being equal, they attach to their parent. Unless there's some major trauma, the newborn attaches to the parent. Yep. But an adoptive kid does not. Adoptive kid doesn't attach as a means of self-defense. Mm-hmm. And there's got to be enough time where you can convince that kid, no, I'm here to stay. And so getting that extra time, look, I'm not going to work. We're going to stay, blah, blah, blah. That makes a lot of sense to me. And the other thing is, laws like that do not get created unless there's an issue that created that law. See what I'm saying? Like, I doubt very highly that they originally started off saying, okay, I'm pretty sure they said everybody gets the same amount of time. But I think after a while, after psychology and things like that, where you can measure it, I think they came to the conclusion that, okay, adoptive kids need more time than regular kids. So I think laws like that, and, you know, we got to talk to Kai. Parental allowance is paid by Kayla for a total of 320 working days. I mean, that's a lot of time.
Yeah.
No, I think the main difference that I'm factoring in is that whatever the number is, so if it's 365, if it's 1 year, we're going to give the mom maternity leave for 1 year to fix postpartum and all that. Cool. I'm not talking about her, though. I'm talking about the child. I'm saying that I would support an extra 100 days for an adoptive child over a born child for that reason. So what I'm saying is, whatever the amount of days is you guys think, and I'm not a woman, so I really don't know, but I have been in the system as a kid on that side, so I do know that part about it. Whatever you think is optimal for the woman, I'm with it. 2 years, whatever. All I'm saying is, whatever that number is where you guys are satisfied, what I'm saying is the other factor is the adoptive child and how hard it takes to connect. And it's much harder for that child to connect to their parent and their family than a newborn. So that's what I'm saying. The adoptive parent thing. And again, I don't think a law like that gets made without specific kind of research. Like, there's a reason that they specifically made that dichotomy. So, and you know, I don't know, Kai, if something happened in Finland or whatever that they observed. All I'm saying is it makes a lot of sense to me as a kid who was part of those systems and was almost completely swallowed up by it. It makes a lot of sense to me because my babies are just blank slates, man. They're just blank slates. You feed them, they're going to attach. Again, this is not about the woman's recovery. I'm not talking about the woman's recovery.
I know you're not. That's why you're doing what you're doing. Yeah.
I'm talking about the
child's.
I would
just look at that way too.
I'm talking
then,
about the child's ability to connect
to bond
with his
and
family.
connect with his family. Right.
That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I understand, but I'm not just limiting that. I'm not limiting it to that. I mean, I know, you know, some of my postpartums were pretty involved, and you know, the healing is difficult, and you don't even know what that's like.
Yeah,
so,
but again, okay, how many days do you think would be for?
Well, I mean, to be honest with you, I don't like the idea. Like, there's no. I keep thinking about that parable with the working situation because I feel like that exact situation.
Just whatever the number is.
I don't have a number because you're going to keep. My issue is that adoptive parents get more than biological parents, and I don't like that. But I understand what you're saying.
Yeah, but
I just don't like
you
it.
keep yeah, I know, but like get away from like you, and think about the child. It's not about you; it's about the kid.
Literally, we're saying. I mean, we both understand each other. We're just not going to agree.
No, what I'm not understanding is you're saying we need more time to recover as women, and what I'm saying is, are you saying that the women are in just as bad of a situation as the child in adoption?
No, but what I'm saying is that when you set up a system like that, I would take, maybe the majority of women wouldn't take it the way that I take it, but I don't like it when, you know, there's a differentiation between the two. I understand you're looking at the child, and the child needs more time to bond.
That doesn't make any sense to me. I don't understand that. If you say 365 days is enough time for a woman to recover from pregnancy, if you say 2 years, whatever the number is 2 years enough? Would you say 2 years is enough for them to recover, go back to work?
That's more than enough to recover.
Okay, cool. Okay, so you're satisfied that would factor in the woman's need if we did it for 2 years?
No, because I'm saying if we can do 2 years and 6 months for the adoptive parents, why can't we do 2 years and 6 months for everybody?
Because we have to balance out finances with helping people. You don't have an infinite supply of money, right? So you have to triage who gets what. Mm-hmm. So my question is, what is the amount of time do you think would be good for a woman to recover? Do you think 365 days would cover the recovery?
Well, I mean, of course.
Okay, so no wrong is being done to any woman, and all of her exigencies are factored into that 365. We agree?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so now I've got a child who's got all this trauma and attachment issues. So what's happening is you're saying that the baby who's got a clean slate, all the advantages in the world, gets the exact same amount of time as a kid who's been traumatized and needs therapy and all the rest of it. Because we've already taken care of the women now. So the women are already taken care of because you agree 365 is enough. So now the kids. Are you saying that the kids are in the exact same situation?
No, I don't think that the kids are in the exact same
Okay,
situation.
is one of the kids in a worse situation than the other?
Yep.
Okay, so all I'm saying is once we've covered the ladies, we're going to give the disadvantaged kid more time.
Because, okay, this is what I'm saying.
So how is that discounting the woman?
Because the kid is going to need the extra time. But the adoptive parent doesn't feel for the kid the same way that a mother who birthed her child is in most situations. So the mother that births the child.
You don't know that.
Well, I'm talking to I've actually talked to people.
Yeah, but you've never been an adoptive parent, so you can't say that.
I've talked to moms that it doesn't matter how long the maternity leave is or the amount of time off is, when they have to get separated from the baby, that you said from the very beginning they're able to bond with this child.
Yeah,
So they've been bonding with child from day one, and then there has to be a separation. Their child that they birthed. And now they're getting separated from the child because they have to go to work. That's going to be emotionally hard for them and challenging for them. And so but an adoptive, I just think that
any time a mom goes back to work is going to be hard.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay, so you said that 365 days would be enough for a woman to recover.
No. You said for recovery, for body recovery.
Right, so she's recovered. She's done.
But now she's bonding with her baby for 365 days, and now she has to get separated from that child.
Right, because she's got to go. She's got to go to work at some point, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So you're saying adoptive parent.
Right. So what you're saying is 365 days presumably is enough for you to recover as a woman. Then you got to go back to work. Right?
Yeah.
And you're saying that's fair and just treatment.
I mean.
Right? Okay.
For her bodily recovery, yeah. But I think that no matter when she has to send her kid away to somebody else to watch them, it's going to be difficult. Yeah, so she'd rather have.
We both agree, but I'm not concerned about her right now. You said that.
I know that. We figured that out 10 minutes ago.
No, we didn't figure it out because what I said was you have a blank check. Set the amount of time that you need as a woman to recover. You said a year.
I don't know what the majority of women would feel about that situation. I'm talking about myself, and I.
Okay, I'm just talking to you though. You got 365, so you're covered. You're set as a woman with a year. So no wrong is being done to you if another kid gets extra time. Because you've already said 365 is sufficient. That's for you. So the woman is taken care of. That's the first priority. But now I've got two scenarios. I've got kid A, who has his birth parents and has not experienced trauma yet. And I've got kid B, who does. And what I'm saying is, are you saying that kid A needs just as much time as kid B? You think those needs are equivalent?
I've literally said the same thing over and over. I'll say it again. In circumstance, whatever, A or B.
I know.
The adopted kid, we're focusing on the child.
Can you just answer that?
And with the other one, I'm focusing on the mother.
No, no.
So if you're focusing on only the child in both situations,
can you just answer that
then the
question?
Adoptive child is going to need more time.
Okay, so the adopted child needs more time. So it's not right to say that we're not factoring the woman because we didn't get to the adoptive child until we gave you 365 days, right?
What?
We didn't get to the adoption question until after we took care of the women first, right? So the women in this scenario are already taken care of. You guys get a year paid off, right? We agree?
We just need to agree to disagree because I'm never going to agree to that.
I never thought you were going to agree, but I do think it's instructive for the audience because of the discussion so that we have clarity, right? What you're saying is 365 days is good for the mom. But you don't like the adoptive kid, the traumatized kid getting extra time because you just don't like how that feels. Like I'm not hearing a logical, like, here is the actual hole in your logic that you're just saying, I don't like how it feels that this kid gets an extra 100 days from this kid.
Yeah, because every mom is going to want an extra 100 days with her kid.
Yeah, but that's not the goal of those policies, right? The goal of those policies is not to get you exactly what you want. Because at the end of the day, if you asked a woman, hey, how would you like it if we just paid you for the entirety of your motherhood and you never went back to work? Mm-hmm. Well, obviously, they would jump on that. So we can't go by what people like. We have to go by what is the point of giving people paternity leave in the first place.
If we're going down to here's X amount of dollars that's available for moms to stay home with their babies, whether those are birthed children or adopted children, then I do think logically you would have to divide it up by giving the adoptive parents more time because the kids are going to take longer to bond, and that process is longer. But
how's that different from what I said?
I still say I don't like the way that it feels. Like I want the mom that birthed her children, because again, I haven't adopted any children. I've birthed my children, and I have
Yeah,
children
but
that I
you
haven't
just
had
said
from my
you just
womb.
said exactly what I just said, though.
I still
You
don't
just said
like it. I said if
I'm
you
not
break
asking
it down
what
to
you
the
like
money,
emotionally. I'm just saying, like, practically, we're talking about running a country, right? We can't run a country on how we feel. Practically, I support maternity leave not because I'm a nice guy, but because I think that's going to make for a stronger society.
Mm-hmm.
I think studies are pretty clear when you've got a mom in those developing moments like that is a gigantic boon for society. So the culture, because remember, when we're doing this paid leave, we're taking money from everybody's house.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is when we're talking about nation building and we bring up the maternity leave, I'm like, yup, we got to do that. Take care of moms. It's like the Latin Kings say, the woman is the key to everything. And so that's why prior to worrying about the kids and all that, you say, how much days do we need for the woman herself to recover? For the person whose culture built, like literally building our society, how much days does she need to cover once she makes that contribution? Cool. Okay. So then we say, okay, on top of her recovery, she's also got a bond with her kid. Okay, cool. Great. Boom. A stronger bond between mom and son is obviously better than society. Wait a second. Adoption is also really good for society. But this kid has a unique set of problems that this kid doesn't have. So it makes logical sense to say, okay, let's give this kid some extra time so that when he goes off into society, he has a fighting chance of being productive instead of destructive. So anytime you're talking about these social programs, we cannot look at them like a charity. We have to look at it like, what's in it for me on the societal level? Because you have to ask that question because you're taxing people. You're taking money from people. So you have to show them this is actually better for you.
For overall society,
right?
Yeah.
Because if I don't give this kid the extra time and he can't bond and he can't understand how authority works, that's a major thing with kids. They can't bond with a parent. That means they have an issue with authority, and so that leads the door open for crime and all this other stuff. Now the society has a vested interest in getting that kid some more time. Mm-hmm. So if a politician got in front of me and said, this is the logic, I would say, okay, that makes a lot of sense. But
yeah,
Republicans, I've heard Republicans do this, where they basically said, why don't we just pay him forever? It's their kid. And basically the guy said, it was really weird hearing a Republican say this. He was like, abortion's there and you didn't have the abortion, so it's your kid. Basically you're on your own. I'm like, wait a second. I thought we were the pro-life people.
Oh my God.
Like what? But he understands that if we support this paternity leave thing, the taxes are going to go up and he doesn't want to pay any extra, but he doesn't want abortion. Like, the Republican Party is just so confused to me. Like, I don't understand, like, how nobody's saying, we were against that 2 months ago.
I don't understand the Republicans' obsession with the pro-life movement when they're not consistent with being pro-life. Like, I posted that. I took it actually off of Middle America. And I posted it on, my other Facebook, but actually it's in my screenshots here. Right here. Imagine a faith so empty that they think bringing prayer into school is following Jesus, but bringing free lunches is not.
Oh.
And then somebody else commented underneath, it reeks of pro-life. And I was like, wow.
Read that again?
Imagine a faith.
Is Mech or Applejack here? Does anybody have a video or something of one of these Republicans really going after the free lunch stuff? Like, I keep hearing about it. I didn't shoot a video on it because I didn't believe it, but now...
Well, I got this off of Middle America.
Yeah, but I feel... somebody look into that, because that to me is like the craziest thing of all time.
Yeah.
Denying kids free lunch at school?
But, I mean...
Hey, if that's real... and you're a Republican, how does it feel to be part of a party that wants to take free lunch away from kids? Oh my God. What?
But the person, I think, posting underneath that said it reeks of pro-life, I was like, yeah, like they're talking about like carpet bombing the kids. And like, I grew up Republican. I mean, like, we were so Republican, it was like, you don't even need to check policies. Like, all you have to do is look for the one that says Republican that's underneath it, and you check off that one. Like, my family is deeply Republican. But I guess the more time I spent around Vinny, who's always like, talking political stuff, I just really had no real interest in it. And why would I if we thought that the only way to vote was Republican and that's all you really need to do? Why would you spend all that time? But then the more you talked about it, the more I was like, well, that's weird. Like not caring about, like bombing, and then I thought to myself, that's true. Like nobody really was concerned about all the bombs we were dropping.
And nobody questions the Christianity of these people when they say, we're going to carpet bomb the Middle East. But let some senator or something have an OnlyFans account that gets dug up. It's the end of the world. She's this, she's that. Yeah. And she's not really a Christian. Like right now, there's that OnlyFans girl. She made a profession of faith. She got baptized.
Yeah.
Apparently, she didn't delete her OnlyFans early enough, blah, 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 blah. And all these people are sitting in judgment of this girl. I'm like, what the
I think your question is very important and relevant. How do you even know she didn't delete her OnlyFans?
Yeah, how do you know that? That's what I'm saying. Like the fact that she didn't delete her OnlyFans.
You looked it up.
Yeah, how do you know?
Look, Apple says check your message. Oh shit. Oh, can you check them there?
Yeah, he got the article for the free lunch. I knew
that
Applejack or Mech was going to get it to me.
Like the massive amount of like caring about taxes more than people, or the fight. We shouldn't even be fighting about Medicare for all. Are you kidding me? Are you crazy? Everybody should have medical care.
Let them die.
The fact that that's the other thing. On top of
these people that say they love our country and then want to deny health care for American citizens. Like, how can you be a patriot and you're okay with your countrymen dying a needless death that they did not need to die?
I just don't like how, I was at in a church group recently, and not all Christians are like this, but there was discussion about homeless people and that they were crowding the woods, and they were like, yeah, they kicked them out of there. It reminded me of I'm pretty sure on Robin Hood or something we saw something like that where the people were in the woods and then they came and cleared them all out.
Yeah.
And I was like, wait a minute. Right? Didn't that happen on Robin Hood?
Something yeah.
He was the one that was stealing from the rich to feed to the poor.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so anyway, they're talking about they rolled up and they had dumpsters. They said, and the person looked wildly entertained by the fact that so many dumpsters rolled up, and they were like, they threw the stuff away, and there was I don't know what she said, 2 or 3 dumpsters full, and I was horrified because we have friends that are homeless, and we've sat and talked with the homeless and eaten with the homeless, and what they have is all they have. One girl got in a fight over a hatchet because that was the only hatchet that they had. That was a means of survival for them when they're going into the woods. And that hatchet was a big friggin' deal, and they had to, they literally went to war basically over this hatchet. So you just roll up.
I broke up a fight. That was what Johnny was gonna.
Yeah. Well, that was part of the situation.
That's when the angel told me, hey.
Yeah.
I looked over, Johnny. He was gonna hurt that dude. That guy ended up dying 2 weeks later. That was the same dude.
Somebody hit him over the head with a.
And I told him too. I jammed up Johnny, and I said, "This is the last time I'm saving you, dude." And it was the last thing I said to him. He died 2 weeks later.
But anyway, so she was they rolled up these things. She's they threw away all the 3 bins worth of trash. And at that point, I didn't know if she was saying it I had a thought as to what her meaning was behind that. But I said, well, what did they do with the people? And she was she looked at me what a stupid question. She was I don't know. And the way she flagged her hand off, it was and I don't know. I was so sad about that because I was and I really didn't even know what to say in the moment because it was so cold. I understand that there are dangers involved when you have a group of people that don't have anything to lose. And they're all in the woods together. Well, how about we do something about that? How about we do something about our homeless population and give people a reason? There was this guy that if you're ever in a sort of mood where you want to, I don't know, it's a pretty cool story. I've listened to it more times than I can count. You can find it on YouTube. It's called A Man Called Norman, and it's this pastor. He's preaching a sermon, but you forget that he's preaching to you, and you actually at the end feel like you watched a movie because his story is kind of it's very engrossing.
Really good story.
And but one of the points he asks him, he asked the guy, because the guy had a home, he was why why haven't you taken a bath? And then he said, because I thought, who'd care? And I'm like, how many people are in that situation where they don't think anybody cares? And clearly, like, this lady didn't care. She cared. She was more interested in the amount of bins that it took to throw away their only possessions than she cared about the people and where they, like, what did they do after that? All of their stuff was gone. Their tents, their pots and pans, their, like, survival stuff. I just, it was just cold, man. But then, there's all of this anger and rage toward abortion, and I get it. I think that abortion is horrible. Like, I can't believe that we do this to our children. Like our kids. We've killed 3,000 a day is what we kill for babies in America alone. Like, that's like, it just rips your heart out. But then you see, like, this cold and calloused way that what we're talking about the babies in Palestine, like Gaza is having all of these situations, and like, I can't get that. I have not watched a lot of them. Like, literally my headache is coming back so much right now. I haven't watched a lot of that stuff because I don't need to see a lot for me to, like, be deeply affected by it. And, like, I want to be affected enough where it inspires my prayers and gives me, like, an understanding of how to pray. But I don't want to be so traumatized by a situation that I feel hopeless in it. And, I saw that one video. I mean, the child survived, but they were sitting and they were all full of, like, soot, and their little hands were just shaking. And it was like a 6-year-old maybe. And, like, I can't, and then we had heard that other story of them. This was years ago, actually, before it, like, kind of was getting bigger in the media. And it was a dad that was getting interviewed, and he said, like, they just have to take whatever food is available. And he said, tonight, and they were videoing their dinner together. He was like, tonight it's condiments. So they were having ketchup and mustard and pickles for supper. And, like, man, when my kids start asking for a snack, you'd think they hadn't eaten in 3 days the way that they go on. Like, even, I mean, Seneca is a 1, and he's always like, I'm like, do you want some eggs? Yeah. Anything I say, do you want that? He's like, yeah. And I'm like, I can go to the fridge and I have, like, a whole bunch of things that I can choose from. Do you want a bagel? Do you want this? And, like, they get to choose. We have so much food that they can choose what their taste buds feel like experiencing today. And, like, these babies are eating condiments just to survive. And that means, condiments and pickles are not going to get you very far. They're going to bed hungry.
There's 5 stages of starvation or whatever, and like 20% of those kids are at stage 5, which basically means that
even if they bring them food,
if we started feeding them now, they'd still die. So that 30,000 number and, 13,000 kids people are expecting it to double and triplicate once those numbers come out. Because when people starve, they're going to die in bunches around pretty much the same time.
See, I don't care what side you're on. Like, why babies, children? Like, this is some really, really evil, evil stuff that we are this cold.
If this is not evil, then the word evil doesn't mean anything.
Yeah.
It's not evil. And I'm talking about us as Americans. I don't know. The Republican Study Committee, of which 3/4 of House Republicans are members, on Wednesday released its desired 2024 budget, in which the party boldly declares its priority to eliminate the Community Eligibility Provision, or CEP, from the school lunch program. Why? Because CEP allows certain schools to provide free school lunches regardless of the individual eligibility of each student. So we want to cut this program because the kitchen is giving kids lunches when they're not eligible. So that's why we're going to end the program in toto.
That's crazy. That's crazy. You know what else is crazy
Regardless,
about that?
well, how does a kid
become eligible? That means their parents have to make a certain tax bracket, but that does not tell you the mental state of those parents and whether or not they're making lunches and meals for those kids. You could be in a higher tax bracket and spend your money on drugs and alcohol.
First of all, when I went to school, there was a free lunch, and then there was lunch you could pay for. So, like, if you got the free lunch, you got the whack-ass cookies, the mashed potato was cardboard, blah, blah, blah. But the other kids, the kids that actually had money, they could actually buy the good stuff at lunch. So, the point is, People that were in a better economic situation didn't eat our nasty school lunch. School lunch itself is not the healthiest, tastiest thing in the world, dear listener. That's the other thing people have to realize, especially if you're in the ghetto. We were eating the shit that the dudes from Rikers Island were eating out of. That's a true story. So, my point is, the kids that had any means or whatever, we're not going to eat the school lunch anyway. It's not like kids wake up and say, I can't wait for school lunch.
Yeah.
But it's called being malnourished. So my point is, if somebody is ineligible but still taking the school lunch, something is going on.
Exactly.
To your point.
God is gracious. You know what I would say?
Yes! Free Lunch Friday rectangle pizza with the nasty ass sauce. I remember. Yes.
God is gracious. What I would tell you is that in the scripture it says that the devil comes to lie, kill, and destroy. And that in those instances, the devil is going to, if you become at the point where you get so hopeless, that means that there is no hope left in Christ and what Christ can do in a given situation. Jesus is still in control of everything that is happening on this planet, and there will be justice done in every situation. There was a cross for a reason, and you're alive for a reason. And if you take your life due to hopelessness, all you do is give everybody else in your vicinity a reason to lose hope. Because I have seen firsthand how the death of somebody by their own hand is such a destructive influence on the people around them, and how it generationally affects people, and it affects them. It doesn't go away. It does not go away. You guys have heard Vinny's story. To this day, I still see the effects of it with him and the effects that it has on the family, because you have days where it's hard to get up because the sadness is a lot. And when that situation is real, like, everybody gets affected by it. So one person's decision has affected multiple people's lives for decades. And like I said, that's the devil's job, to lie, kill, and destroy. That's what he wants. He wants us to get to the point where we're so hopeless and we have so little faith. That's why it says if we have faith just the size of a mustard seed, we can move this mountain from here to there. Because if you have faith in God, then you can hold on a little longer. You said this before. Don't do it today. Wait till tomorrow. Another thing the scripture says is, don't worry about tomorrow, for tomorrow has enough worries of its own. Stay in today and learn to live present. And in this present moment, embrace Jesus in this moment and say, he's doing something. He's doing a secret work, even if I can't see it and I don't know it. But he promises that he's working all things together for the good to those who are called according to his purposes. You're obviously called according to his purpose. And you even in your name, God is gracious. He is gracious. And it says that he's slow to wrath, and that it's the goodness and kindness of God that's meant to lead us to repentance. And so some of the reason why God isn't striking people where they stand is because there's a repentance that's going to come from these people. And when people turn from their sin and they repent of their deeds and they come out publicly and say, I was wrong for this, that is a way that we affect each other. We elbow to elbow people, and our lives affect theirs no matter what. And we can affect people for good, or we can affect people for evil, and just for absolute discouragement. There's a lot to be discouraged about in this world, but there's a lot that we can be thankful for. And you know, part of my like survival strategy is I don't let myself look at too much stuff that's hopeless. If I find myself getting to the point where I'm beyond prayer for hopelessness, then I know I'm looking at too much. And then I start to look at God's goodness. And I got to say, okay, I'm going to look at God's goodness, and I'm going to look to see where have miracles happen, where have I was just talking to somebody last night that had like straight miracles happening in their life, where God protected them in circumstances when they didn't have any belief in him. And those type of situations, they bring up hope in us, and they give us a reason, and they tell us that at the end of all of this, he says that he's going to dry every tear from our eyes, and there will be no tears. So that means when the shop closes and the days are done and we all stand before our maker and the judgment is over and everything is over, there's not going to be any tears left, because we're going to understand all, and all will be good. Just like when he created the world and he put the planets and he put the grass and everything, and after everything except for the putting the water away, he said all of it was good. And in the end, we're going to declare that with all of our brothers and sisters, it was good, because God did work everything to the good of those who are called according to his purposes. And that's you. That's you. But
that's real, though. You know, she's got a name like God is gracious, but she's talking about some real shit.
Yep.
That, you know, I'm glad that Because people think, oh, you're a Christian, you're this set of things, this set of attitudes, blah, blah, blah. It's like, man, Jesus is God. We're not. We struggle. We got all these... We got all these problems. We got all these situations. I don't know what the hell I'm doing, man. I just, you know, once in a while I look out, where's Jesus? Okay, all right, Jesus is still around. We're good. I mean, that's pretty much it. All right.
Much love to you, you know.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that. Honestly, yeah, for real. Much love.
You'll be in my prayers also. All
right, let's break down the Dylan Mulvaney song, and then we'll get out of here. All right, so what was it called?
Days of Girlhood.
Days of Girlhood. Okay. Let's review Days of Girlhood together because this is a reaction channel. I don't know what we're doing with this particular format. Like I said, guys, I plan to be here like on a daily basis with you guys. So I don't know what we're doing, but I'll figure it out. And let's figure out ways to, if we're going to be together like this for this extended period of time, let's figure some shit out. All right, here we go. Days of Girlhood, big homie, Dylan Mulvaney. Let's check it out. This is not going to be a regular Vin and Sorry thing where, because you guys know, we usually like hear it all the way through. Not going to do it for this one because I'm just not. I don't know why I'm not going to. Okay, there you go. There's the MacBook microphone.
He was just saying this reminds him of the early 2000s music.
Yeah, that riff reminded me of the early 2000s. Ring the alarms immediately. We have a code pink. Hold on. I got to get these lyrics. What did he just say?
I don't know. I was going to ask.
He said we have a code pink. All right, Dylan Mulvaney, Girlhood song lyrics. All right, Dilly, where we at, boy? All right, Days of Girlhood. All right, here we go. Ring the alarms immediately. We have a code pink emergency. That's what he was saying. All right. Okay. I'm going to try to get these lyrics up for you beautiful people. That's what I said. Like, we're going to pause it like intermittently. This is Days of Girlhood, Dylan Mulvaney. And we're going to start over again. All right, here we go. All right, Dylan. Why is my screenshot thing rebelling against me? Date added. That should be the top one, right? Where'd they go? All right, anyway. I'll just do it the manual way. We'll figure out what's going on. Talk to the people. What do you think of the thing so far?
Well, I mean, this is the thing. I do find the stuff that Dylan does to be kind of catchy, but you know, he has a past in like theater. Showman and theater and stuff like that. Yeah, exactly. So I definitely think that Dylan has an eye for it. And like it has that. I always liked songs like this where it was like upbeat and like, you know, we're going someplace.
You and the girls.
Yeah, something like this. You know what I mean? But
doing all the evil shit y'all do.
Well. What's that song? Girls Just Want to Have Fun? That has an interesting story behind it.
Yeah, I just saw the outtake. All right, guys, here we go. We're going back. Days of Girlhood. The aesthetic is giving 2000 Paris Hilton in the 2000s. 100%. This is exactly how Paris Hilton was in the 2000s, like completely. And women hated her.
I know you want that music video to be big, but I would like to see everything that's happening, and now we're clogging the screen with. Can you just flip it so then we can see the full music video and we still have the lyrics?
All right, there you go. There's a full music video.
Yeah, and I have one more request. Can you? It's
just
dead.
Pull your lyrics up from there. Okay, what else do you have?
I'm gonna lean this way. Put the lyrics over here, so then they're gonna be closer, so I can see them.
Okay.
And you can make them bigger.
Okay.
Slide that bad boy to the top and make it as big as we can. Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you.
All right, guys. Here we go.
Emergency, calling women of all ages, girls like me, gotta learn the basics. Last look, quick change, sip champagne, playing catch up cause we missed the pregame. Pull up the group chat where you at, drop a pin. We're doing hot girl shit, get in.
All right,
okay,
so verse 1. Ring the alarms immediately. We have a code pink emergency. Probably want to sit up a little bit taller if you can see our face. We have a code pink emergency. Calling women of all ages. Girls like me gotta learn the basics. Last look, quick change, sip champagne. Play them catch up because we missed the pregame. Now is that talking about like going to a sporting event? You know, you have the pregame show and you're going to a sporting event. You're sipping champagne. This is what girls do. Some of the girls were mad at Dylan for this because they're like, we're too broke to do that. Like, he made $2 million last year. Dylan did. So they're like, we don't have this lifestyle. So like, it's not really conscious of the class thing of it, but that's okay. Like, I don't have a problem with that, even though like most women don't live that life because that's the life he's in though. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, that's his life. They sip champagne. Like,
what do you mean? The sipping champagne thing?
Well, some people were saying, like, he's got all these class markers of being privileged, and he thinks that that's just something that all girls have. We all have champagne, and we meet with our friends and have hot girl summer or whatever. And, like, he's not talking about going to work and being discriminated, you know, against at work or whatever because he doesn't have a job. Yeah. He's using a dubbing metaphor for learning how to pretend to be a woman. He's talking about needing to catch up to learn the basics of how to be a girl.
That's what I thought was happening, because if he said have a code pink emergency. What is the emergency? Calling women of all ages. And I thought this was interesting, and I don't know if he did this intentionally, but it says calling women of all ages, and then the next line is girls like me gotta learn the basics. But when you play it together, especially the way he sung it, it was calling women of all ages girls. Like, girls was like following it. I don't know if it was on purpose.
That's
We're women.
That's my major problem. It's my major problem with Mulvaney is the girlhood thing, man. Like,
but again, if you're calling women of all ages girls, like, again, they keep trying to take away from us the fact that we're women. That's why they went after Anna.
Yeah.
So I don't want to be called a girl. I am not a girl. I'm not a baby. I'm not a child. I'm a woman, and I don't appreciate that. But you know.
Can't get out of bed. Tuesday morning pick up meds. Wednesday retail therapy. Cash or credit, I say yes. Thursday had a walk of shame. Didn't even know his name. Weekends are for kissing friends. Friday night all overspent. Saturday we flirt for drinks. Playing wingmen to our twinks. Sunday the Twilight soundtrack. Use my breakdown in the bath.
Oh my word. Okay, this is probably the part people are getting offended about, because the entire week is taken up by overindulgence and dysfunction. Yeah, overindulgence, and then the follow of that indulgence.
Yeah, and
Monday can't get out of bed.
She's out here sleeping with random dudes.
Tuesday morning you're picking up meds. Wednesday retail therapy, so you're overspending. Cash or credit, I say yes. Thursday had a walk of shame. Didn't even know his name. I mean, I actually never met any women like that would not know the person's name. I've known dudes that didn't know the woman's name. But like, is that, I don't know. Is that like just something, I don't know. I've never heard of that.
Heard of what?
girls not knowing, like the walk of shame and not knowing the guy's name. But I
one night
haven't
stands. I mean, that's
they didn't know the person's name.
Yeah, that's kind of the idea, right? Like
you've known women that didn't know the guy's name.
Yeah, I knew a girl that specifically didn't want to know your name.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, because it was too personal for them. They just wanted the, whatever. But that was not a common occurrence. She was a very particular type of person.
Okay, so we're not describing all of womanhood here.
Well, of course not. Can you imagine if a white person was saying, I'm transitioning to be a black person, and they say, Monday, can't get out of bed because I don't like to work. We're lazy. Tuesday, I'm running from the cops because we always break the law. Mm-hmm. Wednesday, I'm out here selling weed to little kids at the park. Thursday, I gotta slip the gun in. Blah blah blah. We'd be like, what the fuck? Mm-hmm. You're literally taking every negative stereotype.
Yeah, God is gracious, right? This guy paints women like we're walking tragedies. Yeah, exactly. What?
Yeah. Applejack is like, Vin, what are you teaching? Sorry, you ain't teacher about hood rats? Yeah. There's plenty girls that'll jump on a train and not know the name of the conductor. Say it that way. Although, on a serious note, women don't sleep with men whose names they don't know because that's how you end up on SVU. I've also seen that kind of feedback on the internet as well. And I've also seen girls say the days of going out with a dude at the club or whatever and randomly ended up, they're like, that's over with because the niggas will kidnap you and kill you, all types of shit. Mm. But the Monday through Sunday thing is just I could totally see how women would be offended by that. Okay, let's do this again. Monday, you can't get out of bed, because women, they just, Tuesday.
That's because of Sunday's meltdown in the bath.
Seduct. Tuesday, she's got to go pick up her meds because, women, they're all, whatever. Wednesday is retail therapy. So obviously the meds aren't helping because she made $2 million. She doesn't realize, you're in the middle of inflation, all the shit that's happening all over the country. And
we would love to do some retail therapy.
Out here talking about you got so much disposable income because you don't have kids. Mm-hmm. You have so much disposable income that it's part of your therapy regimen. So girls are so fucked up they can't get out of bed in the
meds can't even work.
The meds can't help them. They got to have the retail therapy.
Then we do the retail therapy. That obviously doesn't work. So
cash or credit. I say yes because after all, women are dumb. They don't understand the implications of buying something versus cash or credit. Just say yes. Okay, I probably think he's saying that because he's rich and so those distinctions aren't applicable to him. Shout out to Giovanni. But yeah, Thursday walk of shame, didn't know his name. Weekends are for kissing friends. I don't even really understand how that works in the song because Friday night. So we go from weekends are for kissing friends back to Friday night, and then Saturday we flirt for drinks, playing Mean Men for our twinks. Sunday night, the Twilight soundtrack. Twilight, that shit is 10, 15 years old.
But again, he's still trying to be young.
Well, that's my problem. Again, it's all this young child shit. We're the grown women talking about, I was listening to the Twilight soundtrack. Who?
Yeah, and I loved the Twilight series. Vinny watched it with me. I watched the entire thing. I loved it. I enjoyed it while I was watching it. But it didn't become an obsession of mine. And
I
certainly never listened to the soundtrack. And I could see again a teenage girl getting into that.
Yeah, a girl, not a grown woman.
Yeah.
I've never heard of this grown woman out there black. This is 2024.
It's catchy though. It's catchy to me.
But my problem with the Twilight thing, again, it's just another allusion to childishness and adolescence. That's not womanhood. Mm-hmm. But the name of the song is called Girlhood, so.
These are the days, these are the days, these are the days of girlhood. These are the days, these are the days, these are the days of girlhood. Every night, rise and shine, they're all mine. Thick and thin, I'll be alright. Got my dolls by my side. These are the days, these are the days, these are the days of girlhood.
Okay.
I actually liked that one.
That one was good, right?
Yeah. The rise and shine.
Every
they're
day.
all mine. Thick or thin, I'll be all right. Got my my dolls.
it's okay.
by my side. These are the days. These are the days. I liked that part. I do think that there should be a sort of camaraderie. But again,
what? I like that one.
I did too, but I
gotta say, I feel like there's something you're not saying.
Well, that other picture that you had
saying?
showed us earlier, where like Dylan was like looked like a Raggedy Ann doll.
Yeah.
Based on the way the hair was and stuff.
Yeah.
So I don't know, I don't know what the spirit was behind him calling them dolls. Like, I don't know if it was like a term of endearment or if it had any other sort of meaning to it. Because the thing with a doll is it's perfect and it can't change. You know what I mean? It's plastic and yeah. Dylan goes on a lot about the Barbies and Barbie pockets and all these weirdness, you know what I mean? So I don't know if he's like, are these actual like biological women and he's calling them dolls, and he's already talked about, you know what I'm saying? So I don't know what he means when he needs to be more explicit.
No, I get what you're saying. Yeah, I get that. I understand what you're saying.
Yeah, Ian, if it was a biological female that wrote it, I would assume that by dolls they just meant like.
I think it's highly unlikely that he wrote the lyrics for this song, though. I think that's highly unlikely that he actually wrote those lyrics. I think somebody said, "Hey, here's this idea, blah blah blah, go for it." Mm-hmm. I'll check it out later on Gene to see who gets the writing credits. I would be. What the hell is going on with this video thingamajiggy?
We don't throw our shoes or that scuffs them up and ruins them. So I don't know.
Man, y'all ain't giving nothing to this person, huh? Y'all,
no.
you ain't gonna give him nothing.
No.
Man, you guys.
Again, that's probably rich girl privilege, because I mean,
we have to condemn the atrocities that happen every day to Palestinians in the West Bank.
Like that.
You mentioned sexual violence. I was part of the human rights vetting process for arms going to Israel, and a charity called Defense of Children International Palestine drew our attention at the State Department to the sexual assault, actually the rape of a 13-year-old boy that occurred in an Israeli prison in the Mosque in Jerusalem. We examined these allegations.
You guys are
we believe they were credible.
You can't see us.
We put them to the government of Israel. And you know what happened the next day? The IDF...
You throw them out onto the tar out of your vehicle like that? Or... That's...
It's just getting a little...
I'm not getting... It's a little nitpicky.
A little bit nitpicky, I think. What the hell is going on with this thing? It's so frustrating, man.
Any of the shoes that I ever had, like, I've never been, exorbitantly rich. Whatever I had was I had, and I didn't want to ruin it before it's time, so I would have never tossed my shoes out like that. Dylan, you probably can be careless like that and it doesn't matter.
All right, there it is. Yeah, I mean, yeah. I just think that's a little, All right, we're back, guys. We're back. Here's the days of girlhood. We continue.
Every night, rise and shine, narrow mind, thick and thin, I'll be alright. Got my dolls by my side. These are the days of girlhood.
Okay, so that I think was a good verse. She got her people, girls stick together, blah blah blah. I think that's a beautiful thing. I think we're cool with that one, or what do you think? You didn't like the dolls thing. I get it.
Yeah, well, I didn't say I had an absolute issue with it. It was just, given the history that we have in this situation, but like just on face value.
And you'll let it pass.
I'm gonna let this one slide. I'm gonna let you have this one, Dylan.
You will find that I'm kind. Yeah. You'll find that I'm kind. All right, here we go. This is what I love. Look at this. Vintage story tech issues. We've been shooting for 5-6 hours perfectly. One little hiccup happens. Here comes Tasca with his negativity. All right, we continue.
Hi, girls to the front of the line. Linked arms, no stress, cause we're dressed up to the nines. Mini skirts, it's below my hips. Dye my hair blonde, pillow talk on my lips. Boys on the dance floor, it's time to clear the patriarchy's over. You can hold our beer. Back at home, we
shout out to Bud Light.
La ilaha illallah. Okay, So the patriarch is over. You can hold our beer. The irony. The irony. Okay. All right. Well, you know, we hate the patriarchy. So Dylan is the patriarch is over. You can hold our beer. That's probably an allusion to Bud Light.
Yep.
Who held $1 billion. By the way, shout out to the Republicans showing that they can come together and do significant things in the world. You guys really showed Bud Light what's what. All right. We don't have a problem here, right? Hot girls to the front of the line. Link's arms, no stress because we're dressed to the nines. Mini skirt sits below my hips.
You know what? I mean...
Dyed my hair blonde. Pillow talk on my lips. Boys on the dance floor. It's finally clear. The patriarch is over. You can hold our beer. Back at home, we replay the breakup. Stay up all night. Fall asleep in our makeup.
I mean, I feel like I don't really have anything to say to that either because, again, I feel like that fits the experience. It is really fun when, you know, you go out with your friends and everybody's all dressed up and you're killing it. What do you say? You're feeling yourself.
Yeah. Dylan looks physically unhealthy to me for some reason. Yeah, I mean, shit, man. I mean, the whole world's coming after this guy. So, I mean, I wouldn't be the healthiest either, damn it.
Play the breakup, stay up all night, fall asleep in our makeup. Mom brought me into the world, sister taught me how to girl, best friend coached me how to text the boy. Stay up all night, fall asleep in our makeup. Mom brought me into the world, sister taught me how to girl, best friend coached me how to text.
What happened?
Remember when the whole Bud Light thing happened and then there was like a lot of like, no offense, but some of our hick folks from up in the north or whatever, I don't know, maybe deep south, I'm not really sure. They came out with like, I don't know if you, like they put all the Bud Light out there and they were shooting at him. Take this, Dylan. And so she's got a pink water gun with pink cans.
Oh yeah, that was Kid Rock. That was Kid Rock did that. He was shooting at the
okay,
at the
I
beer
was like,
can.
I'm pretty sure it got pretty big. Yeah, okay, yeah. I feel like it was a...
Of course, they got the
Oh, Mech, I didn't know that. Pillow Talk is a shade of a lip liner.
Yeah. Popular lip liner. So Dylan's more of a woman than you because you didn't know that shit. Okay, they got the multiple body types thing, like, you know,
Yeah.
like the larger bodies are sexy too. That's cool to a degree. Some of these influencers are dying. I'm not gonna lie to you. Some of these, you know,
Yeah.
fat phobia people, they're dropping like flies. Imagine that. All right. So hot girls to the front. Not
Hot
really.
girls to the front of the line, linked arms, no stress because we dressed up to the nines. Mini skirt sits below my hips, dyed my hair blonde, pillow talk on my lips. Boys on the dance floor, it's finally clear. The patriarchy's over. You can hold our beer. Back at home, we replay the breakup, stay up all night, fall asleep in our makeup. I mean,
All right.
I mean,
We continue.
The boy toy that I'm dating next. Girls who help show me the way. They're why I'm in it, girl, today. How to girl, best friend.
Hold
stay up all
on.
night.
Hold on. I got to hear that part
yeah, I
again.
don't know what happened.
Back at home, we replay the breakup. Stay up all night, fall asleep in our makeup. Mom brought me into the world. Sister taught me how to girl. Best friend coached me how to text. The boy toy that I'm dating next. Girls who help show me the way. They're why I'm in it, girl, today.
Okay,
You're
so
why I'm an it girl?
yeah,
What's
like
an it girl?
she's got the attention. Like everybody's talking about her.
Oh.
All right, so this is her talking about how the women in her life shaped him, right? Mom brought me into the world. Sister taught me how to girl. Best friend coached me how to text the boy that I'm dating next. Girls who help show me the way are why I'm an it girl today. So I think she's trying to pay homage to all the women around her that schooled her on how to be a woman. But this is one of the weird things to me about this movement is that they say trans women are women. If you are a woman inherently, then why do you need all this help to train you to be a woman? Right? Because you say, sisters taught me how to girl. I never taught my girls how to be girls. I never taught my daughters how to be daughters. I never taught my sons to be sons. What do you mean your sisters taught you how to girl?
I mean,
That means that you're outside of the crew. Go ahead.
I didn't really look at it that way. I totally understand what you're saying, but like, I mean, like my sister taught me how to girl. Like she taught me how to put my makeup on, and my mom taught me to, you know what I mean? Like, so I do think that those.
You never described it that way, though. You never described it as, Mom is teaching me. I would
describe it as she was teaching me how to become how to be a woman.
Yeah, that's how to become a woman. We're talking about a transition from one state of being to another, right?
Yeah.
From being from a child to an adult. And you wouldn't say that your mom taught you how to be a girl. You would probably say that your mom taught you how to go from being a girl to being a woman.
Yeah.
Right? Like that's what that ritual was with the makeup. No, I want to know. Like, is that how you would characterize it?
I wouldn't characterize it anyway because it's like a fish doesn't know it's wet sort of situation.
Well,
I wouldn't characterize it like that at all.
That's
like,
what I'm saying.
That's just what it is. Like as you're growing, you know, you're gonna watch your mom. I used to sit and watch my mom put on makeup for years. I thought I loved the process, you know. And my sister was actually super artistic with it when we were teenagers. So she would do it, and I would learn from her, and I would learn from my mother. But I would never have characterized it as them teaching me how to be anything.
That's my issue.
Yeah.
Like the issue is like, if you say trans women are women, that means that you were born a woman. So,
yeah.
And that's the other thing, like, I'm not particularly sure from a secular perspective, like, how do you even get to even the transgender paradigm? Because you're saying that you're born in the, quote, wrong body, but all the hardware is there, right? So, like, you have all the hardware, and let's say that I don't believe in God, so the only thing that exists is material. Okay, great. How do you get a female essence then out of material? See what I'm saying? Because they're saying, I was born as a woman. What does that mean? Because you have all the male plumbing, but you're saying you're a woman. So that means that your conception of woman is this esoteric, non-physical sort of essence that you are, that your body doesn't match. That's my point. Why would you need to be taught if that's what you are inherently? That's my question.
Yeah.
I am not a native Arabic speaker, so I had to be taught to speak Arabic. Mm-hmm. And somebody can get to the point where they've got the accenting right and everything, to the point where people truly believe that you can be born in an Islamic context, but I still had to be taught. So for me, it's like, you got to be taught. That means, at minimum, the trans women are women thing doesn't work as a tautology, because you would not have to be taught how to be a girl if you were one inherently.
Mm-hmm.
These are the days, these are the days, these are the days of girlhood. These are the days, these are the days, these are the days of girlhood. Every night, you rise and shine, they're all mine. Thick or thin, I'll be alright. Got my dolls by my side. These are the days, these are the days, these are the days of girlhood.
Okay, so we're back to the course. Pretty par for the course. Kylie Jenner sure had to learn that shit. Had to learn what? The dancing is cringe. I'm curious, sorry, because I don't know. There's a difference between being a biological female, emotions, cadence, and training someone in being a cultural female, makeup, cultural manners. What do you think about that one?
I'm not sure I fully understand your question, but I would say a lot of I do think that there's things that are just like natural to you being born a female, but I also think that there are cultural things, and there are also like emotions and cadence and stuff that is learned from the women that are around you. You know, there are certain things that I probably do that my mother did, and I don't even know that I'm doing them. And it's not because I'm, you know. So do you think that answers the question, or do you think that there's something further? Because I'm not sure. Or XBM, does that answer the question? I'm not sure if I fully understood you. Vin, sit this one down. Remember the term, let me show you how to be a man? Back in the day, we used to call women girls. I get where Dylan is coming from.
I'm leaving. I'm getting angry. That's not good. And these trans people won't be let in. Hella waits. Well, I don't. There's millions of trans people in the world. I don't know how you could hella waits for all of them. Good night. Hopefully the future's a little bit more hopeful.
Yeah, exactly, Mac. I thought that being a woman is more than like cultural markers, and Dylan is coming across in like a certain bracket of cultural markers. Obviously, it looks very American. It looks very rich. Also, the bubble bath, the champagne by the water, like the big pool, all of that stuff. That is American culture. That doesn't. What a woman is has to fit in every culture and every time period. It's not something that you can just kind of pull out over here. So. And again, if it fits in all of the different categories, then you can't make I don't know if the word is trope out of it, or you can't meme what a woman really is, because we're more than just a certain time period. Dylan can only capture a certain time period, and probably it's the time period that he, it's very childish. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, even.
Go ahead.
I don't know. Even the body type that Dylan is projecting out there is also very like, this is like almost preteen looking. It doesn't look very womanly at all. To be honest,
some of it is he just can't help it. I mean, he's skinny, he's small. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's just his body type. He's small, and I don't think there's much he can do about that. You know what I'm saying? He just has a small body, and it comes looking off. Now, obviously, the pigtail shit and all that shit, obviously, like... Go ahead, what were you saying?
I think it's on purpose. Look, what do I know about it? I'm not Dylan. I'm not in this whatever. But, like, when I was watching Euphoria, there was one character in that show that you watched age in the show. And when they were first at the beginning, before they hit like probably puberty age, they could very more easily pass as female. But then once your body starts changing as you're becoming more of a man, like even if you look at teenager pictures of Vinny, like you don't even look like the same person. Like you look like a teenager, and now you look like a man. You would have been more able to pass for a woman as a teenager than now. I mean, this is ridiculous. You'd never be able to pass for a woman. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I don't know if the reason why Dylan is the size that Dylan is because biologically this would be the size that he was regardless, or if he has to maintain a certain diet to...
He's always been that size, though.
Yeah, I don't know anything. I don't know enough about his life to know, and I don't say that in a dismissive sort of way. I don't know. But anyway, so in the Euphoria show, when I was watching it, as you were watching that person like getting older, like it looked like it was becoming progressively harder for them to maintain the look of looking like. So I think you had to kind of have like that teenage look to be able to still look sort of feminine,
Yeah, I mean, the conversation would not be as pertinent if he wasn't so crazy about consistently saying girl, girl, girl all the time.
Right.
I hear what you're saying about... I wanted to find that high school pic of me. Because I completely disagree with you. I could have never passed as no girl in high school. What the fuck is wrong with you?
No, I said that you would have been able to more easily because you were skinny.
I don't think so. But anyway, I'm trying to find that picture. You be the judge, America. We'll let you guys be the judge.
What I said was you could more easily pass then than you could now.
No, I don't think so. I disagree, but we'll let the people decide.
You think that you could pass more easily now than then?
Talk to the people.
Answer that question.
We'll just let them decide.
Just answer that question. You think you could pass as a woman now more easily than you as a teenager?
Yeah, I think both of those are equally ridiculous propositions.
Oh well, sorry if I.
But I'm not offended. I'm going to put the picture up. Let the people decide.
Yeah.
I just think it's weird. These are the days.
It's weird.
Yeah.
Well, what do you mean
These
it's weird?
These are the days of girlhood. Is this how you sing it?
Yeah. Anyway,
we got 6,000 pictures in this bitch. I'll find it at some point eventually, inshallah. All right, let's keep going. Let's keep going. All right, Dylan, let's finish out the song, buddy. What do we got?
I think we're just going to the chorus. I don't think we're going to get anything new here.
Who is that lady?
Love ya.
Okay, that's the whole song. Directed by Kajal Crew. Is there all the... That's nice. You almost never see people giving credit for people on these things. So good for them. Somebody's probably gonna get a record deal or something from this. That's good. All right. I mean, the song in general, teenagers and children are more androgynous than full-blown adults. Yeah, I don't. You know, the girl stuff that he does bothers me a lot. Not so much for the words he used, but the aesthetic. You know, especially when he first started out, he had a very childish, childlike aesthetic on top of saying girlhood, whatever. So that was my issue. The song, I mean, it was catchy. It was a pop song. I mean, I don't...
It kind of brought you back.
I'm not... Yeah, I mean, it was like an early 2000s pop song. Like, I'm not for or against it. He didn't introduce anything really new to the conversation. It's all the shit that he's been saying anyway. So, I mean... You know, I mean... What do you think? What did you give it?
I mean, I don't know what the goal was. I mean, I'd give it actually a pretty high score. I like the whole look of the whole Barbie scene. You know, the car looked like one of those old Barbie cars. The pool, even the outfits looked like Barbie clothes outfits made to human size. Like,
yeah.
I mean, I just, you know, I mean. It was catchy.
It was catchy.
I mean, but
I think,
and I liked the you know, thick or thin, I'll be all right. Got my girls by my side. Like, I don't know. I like that stuff. I don't know.
You know, I think he understands that the fame lasts for 15 minutes, and he's gonna cash in.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not mad at it. You know, the song was kind of, you know. It was a run-of-the-mill pop song. It was fine. But, yeah, he got a lot of backlash from the song. He actually shot a video where he was, like, correcting things and things like that. So
correcting what?
Well, he was like, I don't really think all women are like this. It's just, that's been my experience, and I have to be honest in my experience and blah, 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 blah. But I understand that that's not the experience of everybody, but I wasn't saying it was everybody's experience. I was talking about mine. Which I understand, but you did name the song Girlhood, so it's kind of... I understand why people are saying you were trying to represent us, because you made the song, you know, the days of girlhood or whatever. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I mean, I don't think it's... I forgot who I saw. Somebody reviewed it and said all types of crazy shit about him. I was like, I don't know, man. It doesn't really... I don't know.
Overall, like I said, like I mean, I liked the song. I think it was catchy. It kind of threw me back in time. Again, it had the Barbie vibes to it. I don't necessarily have an issue with any of that.
See, that's... People would look at it funny if girls just want to have fun, mention sleeping with strangers and doing drugs. That's true. Like, it's... I don't think I would be as like, it's okay if a white dude came up with a song and used every stereotype about black people. Like I said, like, Monday I went to jail, Tuesday I robbed somebody, you know, Thursday I was, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, we grew up with Jim Jones. Bowling! Bowling! I remember that. Bowling! Everybody used to do that. We'd be on the court. Kobe! Yeah, man, it's a 7 for me. You know, if that. It was a 7. That first verse was crazy. The chorus is crazy. You know, when they're going down the week of the... Yeah. You know, the days of the week or whatever, and it's just bang, bang, bang. Well, who's got the writing credit there, though? Who's got the writing credit for this one? Was it him? I don't know. Sometimes they'll put it on the thing there.
On the read more.
Yeah.
Usually shoot you a lot. I'm still glitchy right now, I think.
Yeah, what are you guys... Man, you guys are killing me with the trackpad, man. You guys, your trackpad is always bad. I'm not even going to look at that thing anymore. All right. I gave it a 7.5. 7. What did you give it? Somebody said it was written by the CIA.
It's very difficult for me to rate this song because I have different ratings for it. So if I'm going to rate what it sounds like, it was a fun sort of 9.8 sound for me. There's still a part of me that likes the whole like,
All right,
you know,
9.8.
Disney. No, let me finish.
Oh, okay.
Please don't mansplain me. I'm just kidding. You know, so there's that part of it. So I like the catchiness of it. The visuals were fun. The different dance moves and stuff. Like it was entertaining. But it's a little bit difficult for me to separate what this means in the actual real world. So in the actual real world, we have a biological male who has transitioned to become a female child, and he's writing songs about what grown women do, because as children we weren't drinking champagne and dressing up to the nines with our skirts down to our hips. That was more teenage, young adult, like I'm talking late teens, 20-year-olds, what we're doing. So we're calling it Days of Girlhood, but what we're actually doing is acting more like what grown women do when they're kind of not in a good spot. So I don't like that message going to our younger kids. I think that kids are being kind of pushed forward in the aging bracket based off of everything that they see on the internet and based just off survival from going to public schools. So those sorts of things are concerning. I also am not good with normalizing somebody who claims to be younger than they actually are, somebody who claims to be a gender that they are not, and then goes into women's bathrooms passing out tampons to women. Like, I think that you can't, again, if our younger kids, our younger girls get a hold of this and they start actually like looking up to Dylan and then I think that it's a dangerous environment, because you can, whether or not Dylan is a safe person, I'm not speaking to that, but that means that other people can categorize themselves in the way that Dylan does, and they can be dangerous to our children. And so the implications that Dylan has on us as a society and on us and on our young women and young girls, that's what I have a problem with. So I can't rate the song a 9.8 because I do think that the movement and what Dylan is doing is inherently destructive. I don't think that you can, there's no reason to be more inflammatory than necessary. I don't think that you can put on the look of a woman, claim to be a girl, and say all of these actually pretty negative things about being a woman, because there's a lot of really powerful things about being a woman. When you have your child, and I pulled my children from my own body and put them onto my chest, and then I fed them from my own body, I carried them in my womb for 9 months, like that's part of womanhood. And I'm not saying that that's all of womanhood, because I know that all women don't have those experiences, but that was part of my experience. Also, there are days where you cry in front of the mirror, but I think the scene on we're watching Lost with the kids right now. Don't tell me anything, because I actually haven't seen to the end of it. Vinny has, but I haven't. There's like a scene where the girl she's like kind of like crying in the bathroom, and then she like looks in the mirror and she kind of like starts smiling, kind of like bringing herself out of it. So the majority of us, that's what we do when we have difficulties. We don't draw the bubble bath and pull out the champagne and cry all night and get meds in the morning and then go buy a bunch of things the following day. Like a lot of women have hard lives. They birth their children, they work their job, they come home, they cook dinner, like this is the plight for a lot of women, and we have to fix our face and do life. And that's not being celebrated in the song, and that's not being looked at as like, this is what womanhood is. And that is part of womanhood.
Right. There's a lot of times when you cannot be glammy. Like she said, like, oh, we feel good because we're dressed to the nines or whatever. And obviously everybody feels great when you're cleaned up. But there's also I have so many responsibilities, I'm going to sweatpants and pigtails type of thing, and I don't feel as sexy type of thing. That doesn't really get translated in the video. But that to me, that is also part of the experience. There's none of the insecurities about the like struggling through stuff. Like she did talk about like, having a cry session or whatever.
The breakup.
Yeah, but
that's the thing. Like women, biblically speaking, we are the weaker vessel, as it's called, but there's a lot of strength in that, and we are not all weakness. There's a lot of strength in women. There's a lot of strength in womanhood. There's a lot of strength in mothering, and those things are deeply personal. And those things you can't put those on like a garment and traipse those out in front of people. Like those are real moments in real lives, And that's what I want for our young girls. I want my girls to see that, hey, mom's having a hard day, but she's still coming out to do some cooking because she loves us and she cares for us and she wants to make sure we're taken care of. Like, that's what I want my girls to learn from me. That's womanhood, you know, more so than a mini skirt with my hips showing and, you know, coming home with some guy I don't even know the name of. Like, these are bad examples to set for our girls. And the song itself is elevating that as like, this is what girlhood is. Like, we act, you know, like we don't understand the power of a dollar, and we don't know the difference between credit and cash, and we can be that vacuous, and like,
and there's a lot of shit.
You know, there is some very deeply offensive stuff that's kind of put in this.
Mr. Mulvaney is never going to have a pregnancy scare.
Mm-hmm.
So you're doing all the hot girl summer shit and blah blah blah, and you end up in one of these states like Texas and shit, and you get pregnant. It's a wrap. Like, that's something that a lot of these girls are now. When I'm listening to women talk and things like that, or when I'm on female Twitter, man-hating Twitter, like, those are the things that they talk about. And I'm like, okay, like, that is a concern for them. You know what I'm saying? Like, he doesn't have that concern. Mm-hmm. So the way he manages his sexuality is going to be different, and he doesn't realize, like, yo, these girls, there's a whole slew of problems that come with that. Mm-hmm. This was a pop version of the sexy French dress depression song from Crazy Ex-Girlfriend. I'm pretty sure that's probably very funny. I just don't have the cultural familiarity with that specific moment to laugh at it, but good night. Yeah, I thought, you know, I thought the song was okay. You know, I'm not the girl, so I can't say whether or not it's offensive. All I could say is, for the people that are, the women that are offended, I completely understand why they would be offended, for sure. Mm-hmm. As far as what I think about this, Dylan, I don't believe that he set out to offend or hurt anyone. I
don't think so.
There was one girl who was like, she's doing this on purpose, blah blah blah. He's a misogynist. Like, I'm not sure that that's really what's going on with dude.
Yeah, I don't necessarily think so either. I just think that, you know, like I said, you can't separate it from the work that's actually taking place on the sidelines because of that movement. So
what do you mean by that?
You know, like I said, like, we're elevating parts of supposed girlhood that are actually things that women would do, women who are in a very bad mental space. Mm-hmm. And so we shouldn't, you know,
which apparently is just the norm. You guys are out there having commitment-free sex with everybody. You don't know their names and shit, and you're just popping a bunch of pills and clubbing, and everything will be all right afterwards, I guess. That's the life you guys have. You guys got the life.
Yeah, I mean...
I mean, good night. But, you know, more... I just want... I don't want it to end bad.
It was still catchy. I mean, it was still catchy.
I don't want it to end... I don't want it to end bad for dude. That's my only thing.
I don't either. I don't either. And I don't think that we should be hateful toward, you know, the person or the situation. But I do think that, you know, the Bible says it the best. You know, well, let me just read the verse so we can get it correctly. Where's my freaking phone? Oh, you have my phone.
I have it. I'm trying to find that
high
school picture. But, like, what verse was it?
Well, it's 1 Corinthians 13.
Okay. With the love passage?
Yeah. But then it...
rejoices in
the truth.
Does not rejoice in evil, but rejoices in the truth.
Right there. Yeah. Love is patient and kind. Love does not envy or boast. It is not arrogant or rude. It does not insist on its own way. It's not irritable or resentful. It does not rejoice at wrongdoing, but rejoices with the truth. Love
Holy
bears
shit,
all
not
things.
Irritable?
Yeah, I know.
Fuck.
I stopped on that one. Love bears all things, believes all things, hopes all things, and endures all things. So, you know, when you look at that description of love, and the whole chapter is really good. It's worth the read, like, because it's pretty convicting, because you see different points where it's like, okay, that's a problem, and it's true, those ways are not a way to just, you know, to love people. But when it says it doesn't rejoice in wrongdoing, but rejoices with the truth, like, if you love somebody, you're going to tell them the truth. And if you really love somebody, you're going to want the best for them. And, like, as strange as it sounds, like, there is something in my heart for Dylan. And it has been ever since I saw the beginning of his, it was like basically like the days of girlhood, like kind of like patterned out in his life as he was taking different steps in the process. And like just kind of seeing his story and just hearing him talk and stuff, like obviously he was pretty upbeat, and you know, I think that a lot of times probably he was maybe feeling kind of under the weather, not under the weather, but probably under a lot of, I don't think he was always in the best spot, but I think he always put his best face forward. And there was just something about that sort of like struggle that you could kind of like feel. And there was just something about him that I just like cared for him. And like Vinny said, like I started getting very emotional about the videos, and I really, really don't want anything bad to happen to him. I would never want him, you know, to take his own life. And you could never know with someone in his situation.
Or for somebody to try to take his life.
Right.
I was not cool with the Kid Rock shooting the bear can thing. Like, that was horrible.
Yeah, because it did have a really bad energy to it. It had a sort of...
I mean, it was shooting him in effigy, obviously.
Yeah, that's what it felt like. It didn't feel like it was just like making a stand on like...
That's why I'm trying to be as reserved as possible, because for whatever reason, this dude is generating all this ire. I will say, though, that there may be some us falling for the shtick thing, because this is true. Women had been telling dude this kind of talk about women is offensive since he came on the scene in the hiking
That's
heels.
what I kept referencing.
He knows it's offensive and he doesn't care. That is true.
Yeah.
He got waxed for that.
Yeah.
Bad. Even in the comment section on his TikTok, he got waxed for that shit. And he doesn't really seem to that he's adjusted at all. The other thing too that I thought was really instructive and really ironic was the women in Sex and the City still had jobs, got out of bed, and knew the names of their lovers. That's true. You know, Sex and the City was not hot girl summer where we're gonna sleep with everything that walks. Like, there was one character, I think the girl Miranda, whatever the name was, because I used to watch that show when I was in high school. I used to watch that show, like, oh, because I had my eyes on the way that show starts out. So like, there was only one girl on that show that was like promiscuous or whatever, but even with her, it wasn't like, I don't know this guy's name type of thing, and she was still like trying to have relationships and stuff. I felt like the Sex and the City thing, again, I'm a dude, I felt like it was a very good representation of what it was like to be a woman in that time period. And again, I can only guess, but it wasn't what you think. Like, it was complexities of like balancing out her career with the relationship. That was part of it. There was a lot of things where I was like, okay, and it really, it really gave me a leg up on the competition, because I was competing with drug dealers and shit. I wasn't no drug dealer, you know what I'm saying? So like, I only had my game. My game was the only thing I had. So it made me appear to be this very mature, wise beyond my years type of person. But I tried to watch it when they rebooted it, and it was just depressing, because it's like, well, I mean, they were in their 40s when the show came out, you know what I'm saying? So they're like in their 60s now. So it's like running around in in New York City at 60 years old, like, I'm sorry, but you're 60. Mm-hmm. You're 60. And they're like trying to pick up where they left off. It's like, it's over. Like, it's over. The promiscuous one was Samantha. The show went into the issues with that. I remember an episode where she was sick and there was nobody to help her and she was crying. We also see her deal with getting her heart broken and fall in love like everyone else. Yeah, that was an important episode, because like, she'd slept with all these people, but when she was in trouble, there was no, she only had the girls to, you know what I'm saying? And, it was a moment where like she let her guard down and she talked about like, so... But, there are promiscuous women. I'm not putting any judgment on it. There are promiscuous women. And so that character, though, was still deep. Mm-hmm. She was still deep. She had thoughts, and there was reasons why she was the way she was. So, oddly enough, like, if it was between this and Sex and the City, I almost, I would definitely give the nod to Sex and the City. But again, these are all biological women that were the main... And that's the other thing about this whole trans thing. It's like, okay, we're going to accept that they're women, so then can they write as women? You can't, because whether you understand consciously or subconsciously, you're writing from your experience. So you can write your experience as a trans woman, but you cannot right, for women if you were not born that way. So, yeah. All right. Shout out to Dylan
Secondly,
Mulvaney.
I think that, like, I'm going back to the childbearing thing because that's obviously been a big part of my womanhood.
Yeah. Yeah, for
but
sure.
at the same time, so was my infertility. That was a big part of it as well. And I don't think that a man could understand, even if there was, you were born a male and at some point you really felt like you were vibing with the female thing and you wanted to be able to, like, it's totally different to have the parts and they don't work. And the pain that goes along with that, if you really truly do want to have children, can't be compared with, like, you don't have the stuff. Like, I'm sorry, you don't have the stuff. So you can still want it, but when you have what it takes, but it won't work, that's like a whole nother level of pain that is indescribable and that's our experiences. So
there were a lot of dudes that actually made reference to Sex in the City. Jay talked about it, Me and My Girlfriend, because it was a really good, again, I as a dude, but it really, like, got you into the psychology of a woman in Manhattan in the 90s. And it was it's definitely definitely important show for me. Yeah, that's me. This is Trans Vinny here.
No, I didn't say that. Why would you do this?
No. Listen, it's not even that deep, bro. It's not even that deep. Go with the joke.
Look at the size of his arms.
Listen, go with the joke.
And his
it's
neck.
It's okay. Just go with the joke. Go with the joke, okay? Stop taking it so personal. Here we go. This is Vinny in Truman High School. Okay? There's my backpack. I had I forgot what I wrote there, but I had a big corn thing on the back here. I used nail polish to design my book bag. And this is the one time I wore a white shirt. I wore this shirt on a dare. Before we were
really?
We were the trench coat mafia. So I was in all black, all that shit every day, and somebody, like, dared me. So I showed up in a white shirt, and I also have white pants under here. So I was in all white, and so somebody's like, "Yo, we got to get a picture of Vinny because you're never gonna see him again in this." Look how big that shirt was on me, bro.
I know.
That's a medium.
Okay, then that's to my point, right?
No, to my point, to your point, you said that I could pass as a trans person.
I said more easily.
More
Okay,
easily.
so Vinny's wearing a large.
So
Look how he's filling this out.
Here we
He's
go.
in a medium over there.
Here we
if
go.
one of those versions of Vinny had to be trans,
Here we go.
which one would pass more as a female? Obviously that one with your smaller self. Obviously.
I don't really see much of a difference between this one and
the
this
way
one.
that medium fits you and the way this large is fitting you now, there's not much of a difference.
There really,
You're
really,
insane.
There
You're
really,
insane.
really isn't.
You are insane.
As far as like passing as a trans person, like I'm just not, because I'm skinny. I'm not seeing
much more easy to pass as looking like a female if you are not filled out like this, babe. Nobody would believe that you were free if you put on that. I don't even think that. Remember I showed you that there was this video where the husband was so terrible. He dresses up like a woman and he, like, literally has like a tight skirt and it's pulled up and he has a wig on and the shirt's like tied and he's cooking at the stove and he has a camera set up in the back. Shorty comes in and she, like, stops and she sees him and she friggin' attacks the back of him. He's like, babe. He's like, this is a joke. It's me. And then she realized that she's like, why would you do this? And, like, obviously she was pretty upset about it. But, like, you couldn't do something like that. If I came in and I saw your big broad shoulders in a woman's shirt, I would never fall for that, even if you had the best wig on the planet. It's not happening.
Yeah.
Like this homie in the picture that's being swallowed up by a medium t-shirt.
Well, again, as Applejack said, back in the day we wore 4XL white
But that's
tees.
not a 4XL. That's a medium. He already told us. He's swimming in a medium.
Yeah. I think Mech.
Mech.
No, I think Mech is supporting me. With the less of the broad muscular silhouette, you just stand out less.
Yeah, but she also said
out less.
Skinny Vinny would have an easier time pulling it off. That's all I said.
No, that's not all.
That's all I said.
That is literally not all. I love it. I'm so happy because you said all this shit on recording. You said all this shit on recording. You back in high school
would pass way easier than you now.
You said all that in recording.
That's
what you said. I don't believe I'd have been able to pass very well as a female, especially in
I
this
didn't
situation.
say that you would pass easily. I just said in high school, the skinnier self, because I was comparing it to Dylan being so skinny.
Tasco's here. Tasco will back me up on this. You were saying that I was
Tasco
basically
says Story takes the W on
he's
this
always
one.
going to agree with that's Tasco's going to agree.
Okay, so
with
nobody can win in your book.
No, you mean
if I'm right, it's because they're just agreeing with me.
If Mech didn't agree with you, she said I would stand out less.
Exactly, that was my point.
With the broad muscular.
My point was, if
this
like
is
Dylan is being
Here
skinny,
we go.
I said I don't know if they're doing
more
that.
revisionist history.
So that way, okay.
Pull up the thing, because we can actually go to the time when you actually said the shit that you said. And so, when that gets exposed, what are you gonna do? You're gonna be like, "Oh, my bad. Well, that's what I meant."
The thing is, we all know how this is gonna go. It doesn't matter what comes across in this. You're gonna find some way.
What do you mean? What did you say that you said?
I was comparing Dylan's body to being skinny and saying, I don't know if the reason he keeps up that is because it's easier to pass in that situation.
All right, well then let's see. It should be manifest in the video. Just rewind it.
How do you
rewind
know?
it backwards.
I don't know how.
You don't know how to rewind it? Just like
okay, now here you go.
Mr. Barkley.
Here we go.
Mr. Barkley doesn't know what the word genocide
here
means.
He goes.
Why are you asking me about genocide?
I don't know where it is. I didn't say I don't know.
Why are you asking me about genocide? I don't know. I don't use that term.
So good for them.
Yeah, see, it's close. It's right around there.
Probably gonna get a.
It's right around there.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
look, you're scrolling.
Yeah, that's when I started looking for you, because you said that. We're gonna settle this once and for all, dear listener, with all her sugary lies. Sugary lies, dear listener. Hold on, just wait.
I wonder if I should just use my phone.
But chill out. Look at her. She's trying to augment the situation now, guys.
Now he's lying.
I mean, I'd give it actually.
You're looking already.
So
you gotta back up more.
The whole look
I'm
of
looking
the whole
already.
Derby scene.
Good for them.
Hold on.
Somebody's
We're gonna find it.
We are. I know what I meant. What I was saying it.
Oh, now we know what we meant. See?
All right.
I'm talking about what she said.
I mean, the song.
Hold on.
In general, teenagers and children are more androgynous than full-grown adults.
It was before that.
That was way before that. That must have been before that. Then.
So I think you had to kind of have like that teenage.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
back
right
it up.
Still look sort of feminine, you know.
Look feminine.
Conversation would not be as.
No, leave it.
No, it
leave
needs to be more. I'm not gonna leave it.
What do I know about it? I'm not Dylan. I'm not in this. Whatever.
Yeah, it's right there. Hold on.
Like,
We're waiting.
Watching.
We're in a debate, hell.
Euphoria, there was one character in that show that you watched age in the show, and when they were first at the beginning, before they hit like probably puberty age, they could easily pass as female. But then once, like, you know, your body starts changing as you're.
It's coming, guys. It's coming.
Like, even if you look at
now, what
pictures of Vinny.
Yeah.
Like, you don't even look like the same person. Like, you look like a teenager, and now you look like a man. You would have been more able to pass for a woman as a teenager than now. I mean, this is ridiculous. You've never.
Boom.
Whoa,
you would be more able to
go.
pass as a teenager than you are now.
Why did you stop it?
Because that's exactly what I said.
You know what I'm saying? Like, so I don't know if the reason why.
Wait.
Okay, and this is to my point that even if it got played, you were still going to find a way to be right.
Can we wait?
That's the phrase that I said. That's the one I kept repeating.
Play it out.
That's what I kept repeating.
Dylan is the size that Dylan is because biologically this would be the size that he was regardless. Or if he has to maintain a certain diet to.
He's always been that size, though.
Yeah, I don't know anything. I don't know enough.
We were trying to defend poor Dylan Mulvaney.
To know, and I don't say that in a dismissive sort of way. I don't know. But anyway, so in the Euphoria show, when I was watching it, as you were watching that person like older, like
I'm gonna, hey, Applejack, give her some context.
Maintain the look of looking like. So I think you had to kind of have like that.
So you're saying that he stayed skinny so he could keep with the girlhood thing.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. I'm saying I don't know that.
Would not be as pertinent if he wasn't so crazy about consistently saying girl all the time.
Right.
I hear what you're saying about.
I'm done talking about you. That was the only phrase I said about you.
Can you find that high school pick of me? Because I completely disagree with you. I could never pass as no girl in high school. What the fuck is wrong with you?
No, I said that you would have been able to more easily because you were skinny.
I've been saying the same thing the entire time.
Anyway, I'm trying to find that picture. You be the judge, America. We'll let you guys be the judge.
What I said was you could more easily pass then than you could now.
No, I don't think so.
See? I've been repeating the same phrase.
We'll let the people decide.
Do you think that you could pass more easily now than then?
Talk to the people.
Answer that question.
We'll just let them decide.
Just answer that question. You think you could pass more easily than you as a teenager?
I think both of those are equally ridiculous. propositions.
Oh well, sorry if I.
But I'm not offended.
No,
I'm gonna put the picture.
Okay, so the argument was they're both. You're saying this kid could pass as a trans person.
That's not what I said. Stop changing
Right?
what I said. We just backed up the tape and listened to it. What I
Whoa,
said
whoa!
was,
Why are you so defensive? Whoa,
because
why are you so
you've been
defensive?
putting this whole thing
Why are
out
you so
there,
defensive?
and I'm not hearing any apology or nothing from you.
What
I said
apology?
exactly-
What would I need to apologize for?
I said exactly.
Give me that picture again. Hold on.
I said exactly
I'll send
what
you the
I said.
picture. I'll send you the picture in Messenger.
I said exactly what I said. What I said was you could more easily pass as a woman in high school than you could now.
Yeah, and
I'm saying, I don't know
said
if the
that that's
reason,
crazy.
because somebody was saying Dylan doesn't look like they're well, and I said I don't know if
Yeah, it
this
was
is
Tasco 'cause he was
if
too
this
skinny.
is their size, if this is Dylan's size naturally, or if Dylan is making this decision because it's easier to pass as female if you're a male, if you're skinny, than if you just let your body be as it is. That's why I said you could more easily pass for a female in high school than you could now. I never said you could easily pass as a female. I don't think your face looks very female at all, feminine at all.
Yeah, I don't think that. I don't think that either one of them could pass, and I don't think that Dylan is staying that. I mean, he's 5'3". Like you can't. You know what I'm saying? It's not like he chose to be 5'3". So, that's what we're saying in the discussion. But yeah,
Okay, so
like relax.
So put the vote out there because you
Well,
said,
not
I'm
even,
so glad, I'm so glad.
not even Dylan looks like a chick. I don't know what that means.
She's saying Dylan doesn't even look like a female, even though he's that skinny.
No, I would not be. If I didn't know that was him, I would not be able to tell. Although I will say that there was a video of him shooting up estrogen. It was kind of freaky. I was gonna play it, but I decided against playing it. But he actually showed, like, shooting up the estrogen or whatever. But he had he said he had his 5 o'clock shadow was coming up, and he said he doesn't go outside when that happens. It was actually, I found it on Libs of TikTok, which they had absolutely no compassion for him. But it was a pretty weird video. I was gonna show it. I decided against it because it just felt like.
Yeah.
And the other thing too is I don't understand, like, isn't there a laser procedure that can get rid of that stuff?
I thought I heard a video playing earlier today where Dylan was saying that they stayed inside because they had that done, and it was like swelled their face.
Yeah, their face was swollen.
I've heard that it's like electrolysis, and I've heard, but I don't know what they have nowadays. Like, this was years ago.
Ha!
It didn't really work.
Thank you.
I never said effeminate. I never said effeminate.
There it is. I knew it. See, it's the providence of God that this girl showed up and defended me. Thank you. Look at that middle finger. Look at that middle finger, dear listener.
I never said it was.
That's a gangster right there.
You're doing that on purpose, and I don't think that it's right.
But
I never said that. What I said was it's easier for him to pay. It would be easier
to
pass.
Send me that screenshot.
Send it to yourself.
Now you're all in your feelings.
Yeah, because I literally said that. I said you wouldn't admit it if you backed up the tape.
What do you mean I wouldn't admit it? I didn't say anything to you.
You kept saying that's not what I said. That's not what I said. That's not what I said. And then you said that the people in the chat were just agreeing with me for what? No, we backed up the tape and you were wrong.
Well, she agrees
you were
with
wrong.
Well, Hell agrees with me.
Hell wasn't even here when the conversation happened.
I don't know.
Okay,
I don't look at it that way. Do me a favor and send me that screenshot.
Send it to yourself. I'm serious.
I'm
serious.
Mech is saying
and
that
Hell's gonna agree with you regardless. We already know.
Oh, here we go.
What?
Here we
already
go.
know.
Here we
we
go.
Already know what it is.
Here we go.
We all know what it is.
Here we go. Here we go. All right. Do me a favor and send me this screenshot.
I'm gonna
take this. I'm gonna take this screen. See what happens, guys. See?
No, it was annoying because you're not admitting it, and I literally said
what
do that.
What is there to admit? What are you
Because
talking
you're saying
about?
That's not what was said.
What are you talking? Hell, you better not apologize. Don't apologize, Hell. We're all having good fun. And then Sori decided she was gonna get all in her feelings. Ain't gonna apologize for nothing. Good Lord. Mech, I'm gonna get that video. I don't think you would be able to tell, Mech, in this situation with Dylan. Now, granted. Hold on, let me see here. Is this mine? Since I'm not getting any help from my partner in crime here, because she's all in her feelings.
That's exactly what I said, Applejack.
All right, accept. All right.
Exactly, God is gracious. That's what I was saying.
Oh, they're just going to agree with you regardless.
No,
blah,
we
blah, blah.
all just heard the tape
I'm
play
going to
back.
validate everybody that agrees with you. Blah,
You
blah,
do
blah.
that to me every time, and you
See,
just
look,
got a little back
look,
of your own.
Rise of X-Men says I won that one. So there's people. I don't know. I don't
Yeah.
think it's a
We all heard the tape
unanimous
play back.
decision.
It was exactly what I said.
Mech.
I said you would you would more easily pass as a female, as a teenager, than as a grown man,
Mech,
based on your size.
Are you saying, Mech, that if you saw this individual in the street, right here, that you would know immediately that that's a dude? Or as a biological male? Let me be respectful. I'll believe you if you say it, but I've got a vested interest in making sure I know what's what, right? I would not be able to tell that is not a biological. How do you put up with such a stubborn oaf? Yeah, she's got it rough. She's got it rough, Tasco. You are saying that. Okay. All right. I would not. What? Okay, maybe it's a woman. Can you tell that that's a woman? That not a biological woman?
Babe, I can tell when women have fake eyelashes on, when they have fake hair in. You guys can't see stuff like that. So I believe that if I was face to face with Dylan, it would be very obvious to me, but I don't know.
Okay, I will say he didn't have the body shape of a woman. That was kind of evident when they were doing the dance sequence.
Mm-hmm.
When he's by himself and does that, but when he's in the context around other, it does kind of, yeah, I don't know. Shout out to Dylan though.
I mean,
shout out to Dylan. You're making your money.
I just think that the conversation.
You're making your money. It's all right.
I don't feel comfortable with the conversation because I think it's right for us to say what is wrong, like how it's going to endanger our girls and stuff. But at the end of the day, like, I don't know, this is still, that's Dylan's body. And I feel a little bit weird to like critique it and be like, oh, I don't know. I feel a little bit uncomfortable with the situation.
Okay. Well, maybe we can remove the segment. In a well-placed still image, it's passable, but singing straight on the camera, you can very easily tell. I listen to a lot of trans Twitter, a lot of trans, like literally every day. And the passing thing, I'm also in a trans Reddit board, which is, if you don't like trans people or if you hate trans people, I would actually no, I'm not even gonna name the Reddit board because one of y'all will take it and build a lives a TikTok thing in, because they say some pretty crazy shit in that forum. But there is a constant, I don't want to say complaint, but I'll say grieving over, mourning over being read as not being feminine. Mm. And it really, really, really affects them, like deeply. And, I always say, like, if you want to know what a group of people believe, listen to what they say when they think they're just around each other and you're not there. So I don't know what the psychology is behind that, but when they get read, I think it's called being read or clocked. Clocked is the term. When they get clocked, it's extremely painful. And I don't understand why, but across the board. Like, there's some things on that forum where, like, I could tell, like, a 30-plus-year-old person said that. And, like, sure enough, whatever. Like, there's certain things, like, with age and things like that are very specific to groups of people in that forum. But that question about passing or getting clocked, doesn't matter what category or whatever, it's a major thing for them. So and that's the reason why, like, Christians message me, why do you do the pronoun thing, blah 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 blah. Like, I do it because, one, it doesn't cost me anything to refer to you as your preferred gender, but two, and I don't know if I'm right. I don't even know if I'm right about this. Like, I just don't want to cause, like, I don't want to cause pain that I don't need to cause. And I'm not sure that I need to die on the hill of a person's pronoun to communicate the truth of stuff. But, you know, that could be a situation where my emotions are overruling my theology. Like, I'm very well aware of that because I'm compromised in the sense that I have friends in the community and all the rest of it. So obviously I'm compromised relative to that, but I don't know what to do because, like, I feel terrible when he was saying, like, he doesn't go outside when his 5 o'clock shadow comes in or whatever.
Or people covering up mirrors and stuff. Like, I hate that stuff.
Or people covering up mirrors. That's a real, like, and that's the reason why I sit and listen on. I take the time to jump into the hostile subcultures, because when I see that issue over and over again, when I hear somebody say that when they went through puberty, they were horrified because what they were seeing in the mirror was obviously distinctly, you know, when you hit puberty now, like, you're starting to confirm, okay? And so, like, you're looking in the mirror, all of a sudden you see this facial hair, but you've been feeling like Barbie, like your self-perception of yourself is Barbie, and then you look in, and you've got facial hair and shit. And they talked about being traumatic. They talked about going through their houses and putting shit all over their mirrors so they wouldn't have to see themselves. So, you know, that's why I go around and do the pronoun thing as best as I possibly can. Try to broaden the border a little bit. But I don't know. I could be wrong. I don't know. Because I understand what Mech says. I'm not playing pretend with any adult person. And it's easy for me to say, nobody's going into my bathroom that can harm me. Mm-hmm. So it's easy for me to say that. So I'm never going to judge women for that kind of perspective. Like, I see where you're coming from. Quite frankly, black women never got this cultural moment. There's never been a cultural moment where it's like, hey, be careful what you say to black women. Mm-hmm. Be careful not to XYZ black women. Mm-hmm. So you're not gonna find me saying all that nonsense. This is interesting.
I do worry about the whole, like, affirming the truth aspect of it, for one. Because somebody is believing themselves to be something different. And I think to myself, if I was to just slide that into another category, and you know, I know there are people that believe these sorts of things, but if my kid believed that they were a wolf, would I put a bowl of food on the floor and let them eat from it? No, I wouldn't, because they're made in the image and likeness of God. And I want them to understand and be proud of who they are, and to have that deep honor for themselves because they're made in God's likeness, because they're made in his image, and there's something unique and special about them as an individual. So I'm going to do everything that I can to work them out of that mindset and bring them into a mindset of self-acceptance, because I believe that whatever inside is getting you to reject yourself as you are, how is that going to get fixed by a surgery that kind of like confirms to you that, yeah, what you were wasn't good enough, but if you become this other thing, it will be. Because if whatever is off in that part of your mind is still there after the transition, then now what is there? Like, then, you know, sometimes there can be, like, almost, if you have the funds, an obsession with surgeries where you're never satisfied with yourself. And the same thing happens with people who get a lot of plastic surgery. There can be no end to it, because once you fix this, then it's like, oh yeah, I see that now. You know, the same thing with women getting facelifts.
They get addicted to those things,
and Botox and stuff like that. Yeah, it can become an addiction. And I think that as people, we know, like in our own experiences, like, that there's stuff about yourself that you might not like, or you wish was different, or you wish was better looking, or more symmetrical, or more whatever. But if you start looking at yourself in that light, instead of learning the acceptance and working yourself through that, and, like, I think that there are some people that are in extreme circumstances. Like, I just saw this this ad for it was a nose job, but, like, the nose that this person had, like, before the surgery was, like, I don't even know if it was an exaggeration or if it was, like, actually a real nose. So I understand why the person would want to do it, but at the same time, like, I feel very uncomfortable with people, like, cutting their bones to reshape the structure of their anatomy so they can accept themselves. But is it so they can accept themselves, or is it so society can accept them better? Or is it both? I think I worry about like, what is the implications for all these things as to the individual? Like, isn't it healthier for us to teach this person self-love and self-acceptance?
It's weird. Like back in the day, all the self-esteem stuff, it was about accepting yourself.
Yeah.
That was the big thing. And like with your gay friends coming out, it was like, that's who you are. You were born that way. And then we had a song, Born This Way, whatever. And so it was like accepting yourself for where you are and who you are. But I don't know. It seems like a grand exercise in self-rejection to me, because at the end of the day, those are your body parts that you are saying needs to be discarded. So it is a form of self-rejection.
Yeah.
Like, you are not only your body, but your body is still part of you. It doesn't make up the whole of what you are, but it is still a major part of what you are. And that's why, a police officer will say, do you have any guns on your person? What he's talking about is, does your body have a gun attached to it? So there's a sense in which your body is your person in normal parlance. And so it is a form of self-rejection from that lens, right? This is the Finn person. Look at this.
I forgot. What's this story again?
This person's trans. So it's a before and after picture.
I can tell you right now, I wouldn't be able to tell on that one. Dylan, to me, like there's a number of things that stands out, but that's
this one.
That one.
What about this one, Mech?
That one.
See, Mech already has. Mech is on his shit. What? Finn passes a girl before doing any hormones because he's young and feminine looking. That's happenstance. Yeah.
I don't. In that 2018, do you think he looks feminine? I don't think that person looks feminine.
Well, I mean, we don't know what his actions are. If we saw him talk or shoot a basketball, you might think differently. I don't know. I don't know this guy, but he's definitely a lot more convincing than
Dylan.
Yeah, it's interesting. I think it's because Dylan's so skinny. Actually, is the issue. Because he just looks flat as a board. I think
it's that Dylan has more artificial stuff going on, like, because Dylan is, again, it's playing off of the, like, you're trying to be a woman, so he's like trying to put on, like, we don't actually, very few of us wear like that much makeup. Like, Dylan is wearing a lot of makeup.
Yeah.
And I don't think that Dylan has grown his own hair out yet. So I mean, I don't believe that long blonde hair was his. I think it looks like a wig.
Dylan.
Yeah. So I think that the long, like, the more time that they're in it and they grow their own hair, and like, I think that those things kind of can look more, but I do feel uncomfortable with the topic, only, because I do think that a person is in a lot of trouble when they would.
Yeah, that Reddit board, there's a lot of people that I'm like, when I was doing DBT sessions at the psych ward, like, there's a lot of people where I'm like, yo, this guy sounds like we used to sound, like, as in a lot of trouble. In a lot of trouble.
Yeah.
Because the wing we were on were people that, like, really went out of their way to try to end their own life. So, hearing that was, and, that just might be projection on my end. I might be, they might be saying that. But the point is, regardless of what you think of trans people, I think all of us can agree that it's hard to be a trans person right now. And I'm not saying it's hard to be a trans person because of transphobes only. I think Dylan Mulvaney is making shit extremely difficult for trans people, and I don't know if that's fair. I don't know if that's fair or not, but I have seen other trans people say, we're not like this. If you're a genuine trans person, we're not like this. We don't resent women like this. We don't, whatever. But he's the story of the moment. He's got his 15 minutes, and he's going to milk the hell out of that. And I think he should, because he's paying a heavy price, man. That dude's paying a heavy price for that money and that fame. So, I don't know.
Yeah. I think also that trans people are making it more difficult for themselves. Like, I heard this one where they were talking about, for one, making everything about genocide. Another one where it's like you segregate children from their parents by saying, look, when you come out as trans, if your parents say anything other than they fully support you and accept this, then they hate you. And then they separate them. Like it is very important that a child has a mother and a father both. Like, it's best for the kids psychologically on all different levels if they can have both the feminine and the masculine energies, and that it's their biological parents. Like, that's obviously the best case scenario. You know, if people take other kids in, that's great. That's a great number 2 solution. But if parents can be healthy and raise their own kids, like, that's obviously the best solution. But they're making it so that way, if the parents don't come out in full support of what they're doing, then their parents are against them and hate them. So now a child that's already going through a difficult time now is like, well, my parents, just because the parents are like, well, hold on a minute. Like, because we understand as an adult that you have certain mindsets that change as the years go. Like, there are things I thought when I was 16 I do not agree with at all.
It's like
anymore.
I said, I disagree with myself from 3 years ago.
Right.
Much less.
So even more so, like a teenager, you know, I'm up in my, you know, I'm close to 40. If my kid is 15 and they're saying X, Y, and Z thing, I know that that's not probably going to last for forever. I have friends who swore to me up and down that they had as many kids as they ever wanted and they never wanted another one. And against the doctor's orders, they said, nope, tie me, burn me, scorch me, do everything so I can never have another kid, and then regretted it years later. Because when you're in your early 20s, you don't know what your life is going to become when you're in your 30s.
Right.
And if life moves forward, now you're in your 30s, your kids are up in their teen years, and you meet somebody
So many
and you want to
things.
start life with them, and you're like, it would be fun to build a little family together. You can't do that anymore. That's why the doctors were telling her, you should hold off. So I think that, you know, I don't like the idea of people like, but I'm saying that community does that. They do that, and then they're making everything into a genocide, and everything is hate. So we can't even stand up for like a safe space for women to have in the bathroom or different things like that without that translating, because that community is already saying, look, if they do anything that's not in full support, then they're full of hate and they want you dead. So then if we say anything other than full support, then that's how they're experiencing it. And there is a lot of power in words. And so as these teenagers are experiencing this, then they're getting hate from their parents, hate from the world, genocide, everybody wants me dead, and I don't feel at home in my own body. Like, I think that community, like I said, is doing a lot of damage to their own people because of talk like that is insincere and is untrue. We can reject something as a concept and as an idea and say this is not safe and still deeply love the person. That's why I said Dylan, my heart goes out to Dylan, and I don't have hatred or anger toward Dylan. I do hope that some of this stuff gets resolved, and some of the stuff does offend me a little bit.
You've always been like almost protective of
that's how I feel. It's weird, but that's
Dylan.
how I feel.
Yeah. Mech doesn't seem very protective of Dylan at all. I that's the thing about women, is there's a whole spectrum. Mm-hmm. And that's why it's so crazy to be like, I'm just going to put on a dress and blah, blah, blah. I know what it's like. I don't know, bro. They're kind of layered, man. They kind of like, you know, this one right here, though, is as cool as an accepting or want to be as I am. When I was in a situation to be intimate with this gorgeous girl, she became hard. My mind totally froze. I'm not proud of it.
Oh, my God.
I mean, this to me is like one of the situations where I'm talking about biological men. We have completely... The real issue in that situation is, why the fuck did you let that woman get to that point and you didn't tell her that you're a biological male?
Yeah.
And she has to find out in the moment. And then now we're like, oh, we're not proud of it. What? That person violated your consent.
Yeah. Right, because you were in that situation under false pretenses.
That's violating your consent. See, that's my problem. My problem is this shit is we're all looking at this shit from the wrong side of the street. We're looking at this from the wrong side of the street. That was an attempted sexual assault. Especially considering it's a girl. You know, we talked about this with the dating apps. And you got these lesbians and they're like, listen, man, like, cool, you guys are in the crew. I'm just saying, for me, relationship-wise or a sexual encounter, all I want is a biological woman. They booted her from the program. And then the president of the company shot a video like, if you're transphobic, we don't want you on our fucking program anyway. Get the fuck out. Holy shit. What? Hell says we were dancing. Well, bless God that's when you found the situation. But that's nothing.
Yeah, because the thing is, you could have ended up in a situation alone with them. And that's the thing that as women, we worry about. Because if you say no, they're good. Because obviously this person didn't care about your consent because they weren't honest with you about what was actually going on. Oh my God. Oh, I'm sorry that happened to you. That's horrible.
And see, my thing is like, with hell, like I feel like if somebody tried to do some reckless shit, she's got some like little pocket knife or some shit to do what needs to be done. But like, this is how crazy our society is, where you got dudes like literally violating the consent of women. We're talking about lesbians now in this dating app. They're lesbians.
Yeah, but what you just described.
And not even that is can get you a pass.
What you just described is Hell is the type of person who would handle her business if she needs to. I agree. But if you follow what she said she didn't go to the club for months after that.
Fair point.
So that means right there.
Fair point.
That means
Fair
even
point.
a strong woman like Hell who could handle her business in those situations, that traumatized her in a way. That's why she avoided going for months. That's not right. That's not fair.
They gotta have a space. Like, that's the entire point, right? With the lesbian club and shit, they gotta have a space.
But this is the thing, when you were talking earlier about you're saying, like, it's very difficult for them because they really want to be accepted as female and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And you feel bad for them.
I do.
I have a hard
do.
time, and you've read more and you've seen more on that. I don't, because that's the stuff that I think about. What Hell just described, where that's not what she wanted. And because that person is so busy trying to be accepted as a female, they're traipsing around as that and putting people in situations they don't want to be in. So because you want something for yourself personally, fuck everybody else around you. Fuck all the women around you. I think that's wrong.
I had all the girls in my school were bi or whatever. But I did have one friend who was like lesbian. And I'm not saying this is true of every lesbian. I'm just saying this particular one that I knew had been sexually abused when she was younger. And so anything relative to men was a complete non-starter for her. And so it's like, that person goes to a club to find love, companionship. I don't know what the fuck, people in a club scene or a gay club scene are looking for. But, you're out there trying to find a girl and navigate through life or whatever. And then you get into some intimate moment and then boom, wha-bang. And again, you have to factor in, you are saying, I'm a trans woman, blah, 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 blah. But when that girl is in that car in some, empty parking lot, okay, and then boom, this surprise happens, you have to understand the mindset of a biological woman. They've all heard stories of trying to reject men, getting raped, getting murdered, all that type of thing. So the fact she might go along with that shit in fear for her life because you basically lied to her the entire time about what you were. Now you reveal what you are in the middle of this sexual encounter. You're in a parking lot completely by yourself. If that woman goes along with it, I still call that sexual assault. Mm-hmm. Because I did not know this, but there's a lot of women that are terrified of rejecting dudes' advancements. I just found that out on Twitter. It was kind of mind-blowing. So it's like, there are so many... And again, as men, we don't understand that. We don't understand what it's like to be traumatized by a man as a woman, etc., etc. So this trans person is only thinking about themselves. They're not thinking, I'm going to spring this surprise on this girl in the middle of this parking lot and... There's so many factors that have to be considered on this topic.
Yeah,
that
100%.
It makes you realize, like, okay, there's a reason that we've gendered things. Mm-hmm. There's a reason. I mean, get the Bible out of it. There's a natural selective reason for it that makes a lot of logical sense.
I mean,
God is gracious. It's the point where we basically have to screen people. That's true. Because you guys might be able to
I agree
clock,
with the ending too.
you might be able to clock Dylan, but I wouldn't have been able to do it. You know what I'm saying? Like, so we have to screen people, but realistically, we shouldn't be giving our bodies to people. We shouldn't create spiritual bonds.
I agree, 100%.
100%. At the same time, though, I know that other women don't share that view, and so they have the right to have a sexual encounter without getting sexually assaulted, because in my view, that's what that is.
Yeah. And
it's a form of sexual assault.
Whether or not you were, willing to do more, you're saying you were willing to do more, they should have told you.
Yeah, they should have told you regardless.
That's like, there are some things, like, I think that's important. Also, if somebody has any STDs, like, all of those things, that is up to the other person to make the decision whether or not they want to move forward with that situation. And I get it. If you have STDs, that's going to be uncomfortable, embarrassing maybe to say to somebody, but that is important to disclose that information. And it is also important to disclose the information if you're...
And you know what? Nobody would argue that point.
Right.
Nobody would argue that point. That's such a good point. Nobody would ever argue...
You shouldn't have to tell people...
You shouldn't tell somebody that you're about to enter into a sexual liaison with about... Yeah. Like, that's such a good point. Like I said, I hang out in trans Twitter and stuff, and there's a lot of them that are like, "That's none of your business." Blah 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 blah. I'm like, okay.
That means that consent is not even on the table, because if consent was on the table, then you have to be honest with the person and say, "Hey, this is the situation we're dealing with," and then the person would go along with it. They obviously didn't think that you were going to go along with it, which is why they didn't tell you and wanted to get you further along the line before.
And I think we have to have empathy for that. Will people accept me? Blah blah blah. Like. It's not simple. I get it. But when you're talking about something sexual, you're talking about something extremely personal and intimate. Like,
although
I understand the fear of rejection, blah blah blah. Like, I get it, but at some
here's
point,
the flip side. She's saying they were on the dance floor. So, to be fair, nothing sexual was actually happening. This is like you're dancing.
Well, I mean,
so maybe you're like starting the dancing stuff. And then at what point should they be telling you? The first time you pass the drink, then?
Yeah, no, I get that. I mean, I don't know what the dancing was, but like, there's ways to dance that are basically simulated sexual activity, right?
Oh, no, I get that. But... I'm saying they could be out on the dance floor, and at what point is the person supposed to say, "Hey, this is the situation"? I would say before stuff starts popping off and the other person can recognize what's going on, this stuff should be talked about.
Mm-hmm. The episode where the football player had a wife but slept with men, and Ice-T told him, "Newsflash, you're gay." Yeah, there's this dude right now that's saying he's not gay for whatever. All right, guys. I will make the new Behemoth album about aliens, not about the devil. We didn't dance polka. Yeah, see? Yeah. It wasn't a polka type dance. I think we're going to get out of here. I think we spent like 4 or 5 hours with you horrible people. This was a fun one. Let's see if we can keep it going, guys.
I think tomorrow we might have like a regular Vin and Sori music stream.
Yep, we got a music stream coming.
I gotta message somebody, but I'm not gonna message them at 4:30 in the morning. So
I agree about the bisexual men thing, but that's probably just my own ignorance, man. Like I can't imagine a dude like liking both. Like I just can't. I can't comprehend it as a dude. Like to me, like if you. I'm not even going to go down that. I'm not even going to go down that path. Much love to all you beautiful people. We got to get out of here.
Oh, I think of Rise of the X-Men wanted a happy birthday.
Hey, happy birthday, Rise of the X-Men. Turn to 15, 16, some of that. Later, Kamikaze. Much love to all you beautiful people. Thank everybody for sticking around. This was a very, very long one. Gay men aren't interested in women sexually. That's why they're gay. Thank you guys. Take care. I don't know what you guys are doing staying up so late, but we are gone out of here. Vin out.
Sorry out.
Gone. Holy hell. Honesty is the best policy.